Gentle patting on my shoulder steers me from my sleep, and I can hear a muffled voice break through the veil. Romiz. Huh? What? What? Where is everybody? I open my eyes sleepily, blinking to adjust my vision. The grey wolf squats in front of me with a gentle smile. Without thinking, I throw myself into his arms, tipping him over like ah! Without thinking, I throw myself into his arms, tipping him over. Ah! He lands on his butt with an amused oof, embracing me tightly. I can sense that my reaction surprised him, but the swoosh of his tail assures me I did it in a good way. I rub my head against his neck fluff. He's just taking in his scent. I didn't think it was possible to miss someone so much. Suddenly, I remember the other wolf keeping watch over me, pulling away from Ranok in order to avoid making a scene. As the wolf readjusts himself, I noticed that we're in fact alone. Where's the guard? He's gone now. The wolf smiles at me. I hope you were treated okay. He might as well have been part of the furniture. Didn't budge or make a sound. Why are you on the floor? You should have used the bed. Ranok raises one brow, nodding towards it. Honestly, I was afraid to startle the guy. He was super tense. For someone so tiny, you are incredibly ballsy when dealing with wolves. And again, with Kael and stuff, he's been calling me tiny a lot. I guess he really likes that nickname. Since I see you instead of an executioner, I take it we're good? Yes. He nods with clear relief. Everything's fine. You're released into my custody. What does that mean? He cuts off, slightly troubled. He's clearly looking for the right words. That I'm responsible for you. So, pretty much what we wanted, no? I inquire, as the pause made me slightly worried. Yes, pretty much. He chuckles, extending a paw to help me up. Won't you have something to say? Don't you have something to say? As I stand up, my eyes are immediately hit by a harsh beam of light. Damn, it's morning already? I squint. Yeah. You talked throughout the day and night? It was a hard sell. He admits with a bit of embarrassment. I told you my people are rather set in their ways. Also, Verissa is questioned a lot due to her rage. Due to her age, many of the elders don't trust her ability to speak with the spirits. And then you have the elders. They like to talk. So that's why it's called the howl? I propose weakly and he suppresses an idle laughter. I swear! My father was getting pretty fed up halfway through the meeting. No wonder. If it started at noon, you pretty much spent 18 hours arguing. Yeah, it got pretty heated. My father's position, He pauses, as if not sure whether he should elaborate or not, forcing me to pry. The wolf sighs, reaching up towards his shoulder pad. It's a long story, and for another time. Just know there are things the elders like to bring up against him. I watch uncomfortably as he struggles to undo a latch beneath the metal plate. You need help with that? Looks rather fiddly. I ask needlessly, as I find my hands already reaching out towards his paws. You don't have to. He's splashing now, yay! He pauses as my small fingers already sunk beneath the plate. With a click, the piece of armor is detached, and the wolf places it carefully down on the ground. Thank you. I watch as he removes his cloak along with leather straps which secured the shoulder pad in place and held the blade on his back. Isn't there something that you need to tell him? He rests his massive long sword. There's a joke there. Against the wall, next to the chest. Only now I have a good look at the thing. It's nearly as tall as the candelabra. It must weigh a freaking ton, which explains its massive arms. I bet it could easily split me in half. both orally and anally. My eyes wander around the room as a blush creeps into my face, especially as he undoes his belt, allowing it to clang onto the floor with a loud thud. Oh wait, no! No! Ranok! Wait a minute! This is not the time! We're on in episode 2! Do you want me to put it all away? The chest, perhaps? Another flop draws my gaze back to him as he drops his padded armor carelessly into the heap. Why is there something that's gonna happen that I don't know? He's just looking at us. Like, he wants this. Aren't you settling into your role? He laughs teasingly. Let's just leave it here. I'll have to put it back on soon enough. I only have few hours to rest. The wolf walks towards the bed and sits down, reclining back into his elbows. What the f? What the hell? Why is this hot? I follow and this music. No, this music is so good for this scene. I follow and take the spot next to him. It's a beautiful morning, and although the wolf's expression invites me to admire the light spectacle outside, my eyes wander to the sun rays gently kissing his sculpt body. It almost seems that the light redefines his musculature, making it even more pronounced than before. I shake my head slightly, trying to regain my train of thought. What is wrong with me? So, we're dealing with a distrusted shaman and a questioned leader. I think out loud, reflecting on our conversation as it did not exactly put me at ease. Seems like this whole place is pretty unstable. You have no idea. Ranok laughs, smiling at me with amusement. You know, his position? My god, this actually hurts the back. That's not a good thing. If anything, it sounds like my situation isn't exactly sorted, and it's clear Ranok realizes that. He sighs and nods in defeat. I know. But one thing at a time, friend. He pats my shoulder reassuringly. What, no kiss? Friend. I'm both glad and distraught to hear him call me that. Not tiny? I treasure his friendship, and I'm glad that our friendship mishap didn't hamper it, but... Is it really all he wants me to be? I sigh, not even sure where my thoughts are taking me. We sit like this for a moment in silence. I can clearly see he doesn't know what else to say while I'm deep in my thoughts. I desperately try to escape my infatuation. There are more important things at hand. If Verissa's and Chief's positions are indeed insecure, I might prove to be their undoing. For whatever reason, I feel like I have unwittingly become a pawn in a game I won't even get to play, but I'm getting ahead of myself. With the Chief's apparent fury and now the entire tribe's attention on me, I just need to focus until the next day. I slump a little, realizing that this whole mess unfolded the way it did due to my own carelessness. I'm sorry I allowed myself to be seen like that. I did ask you to stay out of sight. He nods with a slight smile. You did, and I fucked up. It's just, there was so much going on. Relax. It wasn't all your fault. Well, kind of. That little shit should have stayed away. He always sneaks around my house, but I thought he learned his lesson after last time I caught him outside my windows. I could hear a stifled growl brewing deep inside his throat, which makes me wonder about the pup. Ranok doesn't seem to like him very much. Who is he? He's my younger brother. Well, half-brother, anyway. The wolf rolls his eyes in annoyance. Ever since I moved out from the villa, he snoops around. He probably just misses you. I propose as I find it rather harsh towards the child, even if he did put our lives in danger. Ranok simply closes his eyes and releases an exasperated sigh. That's it. It's neither here nor there. It's not his damn dead mother. I'm not his damn dead mother, okay. I assume that's some sort of a village nanny? I can see he's clearly annoyed, so I so I allow him a moment to calm down before I continue my questioning. What's his name? He doesn't have one. He hasn't earned it yet. Wait, well, you have to call him something. I chuckle. Yeah, a pup call of sorts. It's like a nickname, usually derived from the pup's behavior or physique. His is Howl. As you can guess, he wouldn't shut up when he was born. Although if you ask me, he should have been called Snitch. Snitch? Ooh la, what me wa? Oh wanna be oh Hannah. Don't be like that. He's just a kid. I smile awkwardly. A very nosy and annoying one, that's for sure. Seeing him so grumpy and serious almost demands a tease. As if you were a well-behaved pup. I laugh him off. With your tendency to seek out trouble, I'd say it runs in the family. I wonder what's your pup name? I chuckle and I can see his eyes widen in shock. But only for a moment as he quickly narrows his eyes, grumbling. Well, you can continue to wonder. Come on, are you seriously not going to tell me? It's a grave insult to use a pup call towards an adult wolf. He states in a serious tone. Once we stake a claim to our name tree, our pup name is meant to be forgotten. Seriously? Your people need to learn to relax a bit. All this posturing is a little over the top. I laugh him off, but his expression doesn't soften, and I think I found another sore spot. It's not posturing. If your pup names a wolf, he is honor bound to challenge you to a duel to prove his mantle. You people duel over misnaming? It's not a trifle, it's deadly serious. He scolds me. Yeah, so far with your people, everything is. By using a pup name, you're basically questioning a wolf's worth. The only way to restore honor is through combat, often to the death. Yeah. Why am I surprised? If you kill over a name tree, why would misnaming be any different? The wolf issue was a long huff, giving me a mixture of a hurt and patronizing gaze. Look, Romiz, I understand you're a human, and I don't know anything about your culture, but I'm sure I'd find half of your practices objectionable, to say the least. He states defiantly, causing me to blink. We have lots to learn from each other. I can see that. But for any learning to take place, there has to be a willingness to listen and to understand one another. I want to learn from you, but so far all you do is mock our customs and give me flack over things I don't control. He finishes chastising me, and I slightly sink into my shoulders. Although harsh, his words ring true. I've been overly cynical, if not outright critical of his way of life. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I admit in defeat. I concede! All of this is just extremely confusing to me. But none of it is meant as an insult. I guess it's just my defense mechanism. I don't understand what's going on, and I don't remember anything beyond what's happening here and now. So, instead of panicking, I try to pick apart everything that's new. He listens carefully to my explanation, his expression shifting a little. Actually, it is. It kind of is. Defense mechanism. It's what being human. He listens carefully to my explanation. His expression is shifting a little. I'm really sorry. I'm just trying to fill up this utter void in my head, so I tend to overthink everything you told me. You seem quite functional for someone who claims to have an empty mind. He mutters, almost as if he began questioning my memory loss. It's all just an act. In reality, I'm the same boat as you are. I don't know any more about the human culture than you do. He narrows his eyes, this time more worried than annoyed. I don't remember how humans do things, but somehow I feel that even if you were to tell me, it would still be just as alien as the rest of this is. What are you saying? You weren't living among your kin? In truth, I want to tell him. I want to tell him I feel as if I'm from another world entirely, but this will just be admitting lunacy. Lunacy, sorry. I sigh in resignation. Yeah, I guess so. So I suppose you live somewhere among the Tiggery, then, which would explain your superiority complex. I give him an annoyed look. Your guess is as good as mine. I don't know. I'm not even a tiger. I can see his eyes drill into me as if expecting me to elaborate. I don't know what to tell you, Ranok. I've got nothing. I shrug and he scoffs in amusement. Well, not exactly. You still have your compass. He bumps into me with his shoulder, forcing a reluctant laugh out of me. If you say so. I shrug defeated and the wolf looks towards the window. It's clear that my memory loss bothers him almost as much as it bothers me. It does kinda put a hole in his plan. Can't take me home if there is no home to speak of. Eventually, after a moment of silence, he looks back at me with his usual determination. There's always tomorrow. We'll get your memories, Kaelin. He grins, ruffling my hair, and I smile back at him for a moment before I pause. Hold on! Suddenly it hits me. All this time he's been using my characteristic as a nickname. I can see his grin widen at my realization. You pup named me! You took you a while. He winks cheekily and I snicker. All this talk about how insulting this is while you've been pup calling me all along. You're such a hypocrite. As the kettle said to the pot, you're black! He snorts and I decide to easily punch his shoulder. Although putting some actual force behind it. My knuckles buckle as if I hit a stone wall and I immediately have to cradle my hand in slight discomfort, causing him to laugh like, ah! Also not really a hypocrite. If you are as helpless as a pup, yeah, shut up! He laughs off my pathetic attempt at roughhousing and in turn punches me right in the chest. Like, oh! Just like I did, he placed a little bit of force behind his teeth and I wince in pain, rubbing my now aching breast. See? A total pup. He snorts while I kept rubbing the sore spot with faint annoyance. When I notice his eyes dart to my side with a worried expression. It's almost as if he forgot himself and is now worried that he might have overdone the punch. Such a good wolf. How's your wound? The wolf asked, his voice lined with concern. I was worried sick. Couldn't think straight about anything else. Honestly, I think it's fine. I look down at the blooded bandage. Although it looks bad, the blood has dried off and the wound beneath doesn't even hurt anymore. I'm glad no one took a look at it, because Vol might have been too careful. Are you complaining that he didn't stab you hard enough? He laughs nervously. Well, I never been stabbed before, but this thing feels too good for a grave wound. I kind of forget it's even there most of the time. I, for one, am glad. I would like to put this whole mess behind us. I nod in agreement. We both gaze idly into the window. He leans back, tensing out his exposed belly, and I have to fight the urge to just pet him. I don't understand my bizarre attraction to him. It feels very sudden. He's charming, alright, but it's not typical of me to get lost in the guy like this. Or is it? After all, I did lose all my memory, but I'd like to think I wasn't this easy to wrap around a finger. Still, something about this wolf is different. Something feels like there's a connection. He's quirky, a bit forward and too full of himself, but at the same time extremely vulnerable. I think he let himself be boxed up his entire life and our little mishap proved it best. I can feel a blush slowly creeping into my face as I'm reminded of what I actually wanted to talk about. He's not alone, even if we're just friends. I want him to know I understand what he's going through. Ranok? He looks at me with a soft smile. I wanted to tell you something, but I don't know how. You seem to have pretty good grasp of our language. He smirks. It's not that. I struggle. This is much harder to do than I thought. He just looks at me with a smirk, raising one brow in a teasing expression. Damn, he knows how to disarm me! It's about yesterday morning. I finally spill it out, looking away at the window. Oh, I would rather not talk about that. His voice takes on a more serious tone. I swallow heavily, not wanting to leave the matter unresolved. I just want you to know that I don't... I sigh. I don't mind it, okay? And if you do, I hope you won't start calling me, defective. I cringe, really unsettled by the term. I would never. Good, because I don't think it's alright. Sorry, good, because I don't think it's right. I don't think anyone should feel wrong or broken just because they, like guys. I finish, not even looking at it like... I can't believe I just said it, but I'm glad I did. It had to be said. I hear the wolf readjust himself as he turns to face me with an expression full of disbelief like, wait! Wait a moment, you... Ow! My leg! You like males? It is hard to force myself to face him, but I have to look into his eyes. Otherwise, that was the point in what was the point of bringing all of this up? To my surprise, his expression is kind and a little bit expectant. I could almost see a light lit up above his head. I hope we can still be friends. No, more than friends. We're bed buddies. Of course we can. He scoffs at me as if it was never a question. I'm glad to hear it. Man. But... Uh-oh. I'm not like you. He grimaces with embarrassment. I really do like females. That's a lie. Oh. I freeze, looking at the window. I don't know. He's lying at us. He's lying on us with his teeth. In truth, I just want to jump out of it. Besides, you're rather small and wrong species, no? He cuts me off with a chuckle, almost as if trying to save me embarrassment. I laugh nervously. Yeah. Don't worry about it. It doesn't change anything between us. But you're still lying to yourself, dude. Of course it does. I just made a fool out of myself. I guess I've seen too many stories to think this would work out the way I thought it would. But I guess it's for the best. I really don't feel it. I'm in control of my emotions, and I'm shifting from one extreme to another. I'm so dumb. Why would I even think of romance in my current situation? You okay? You've gotten pretty quiet. I hope you're not taking my rejection too hard. Ang bota vulgar na lang ta. He winks at me in a clear jest. Rejection? You should be so lucky. Who said I'm interested? And then he started like, oh no! I punch his arm teasingly, nervous laughter escaping my lips. Whatever you say, Tiny. Whatever you say, Mr. Troublemaker. He chuckles and plops down on the bed. Now, I don't know about you, but I really need to get some sleep. He makes an exaggerated yawn, his tongue coiling up inside his maw like a snake. Would you close the shutters? Sure. I walk towards the window, allowing the wolf to splay himself out when I suddenly stop in my tracks. Wait, you have shutters and you're only mentioning them now? Yeah, why? This whole mess could have been avoided if they were closed to begin with. Maybe, but aside from looking suspicious to others, being locked in the dark room would freak you out even more than this whole thing already did. He shrugs through another protracted yawn. But, Ranok, this could have been avoided! You idiot! I chuckle, looking at his open jaw, his tongue dangling out in such a goofy fashion. He finally closes his muzzle with a loud smack. You were on the verge of heart attack anyway. I shake my head with a sigh, deciding to simply drop the issue. Carefully, I relocate the clutter onto the floor. Once the ledge is cleared, I open up the window and for the first time, lean out of it freely. The fresh air feels wonderful on my skin, and this little taste of the outside world only makes me want more. The forest is alive and buzzing with activity. I can hear the gentle rustle of leaves accompanied by the chirping of birds. There is even a pair of squirrels chasing each other across the canopy, jumping from one branch to another. Maybe we get to go out sometime later. I would really love that. A hike through these woods seems a dream come true. This place looks like it's from a fairy tale. But for the time being, I'll just follow Ranok's lead. I put us in danger one time too many on a silly whim. I decide to simply grab the shutters and close them, allowing the dark to claim the bedroom. Since I'm no longer a secret, I leave the window open, allowing much needed forest air to flow freely into the otherwise dank room. Sorry I left you without any provisions. You must be... He interrupts, issuing another prolonged yawn. Starved. Brought you some food. It's in the kitchen. The wolf mutters and I smile, seeing he's pretty much half asleep already. Don't you worry about me. You just rest. I go to the kitchen to find the linen bundle on the table. What linen? There's no linen here. I sit down slowly unwrapping it to reveal thick slices of roasted ham and some forest fruits. The ham smells wonderfully, causing my mouth to water with its smoky aroma. But it's the berries that pick my attention. They're glistening with morning dew and look extremely ripe. I select one large blackberry and eat it. It immediately bursts with sweet tang and at the slightest touch of my tongue, bringing a smile to my stomach. They're freshly picked and carefully selected, which must have taken some time considering their season. Why is he trying so hard if he's into girls? Have you ever seen a lie when... Have you ever seen a lie? I sigh, shaking my head. I'm reading into things again, while I should focus on more important matters. I'm curious how exactly the meaning went. Ranok's description doesn't fill me with confidence. I can understand Verissa being questioned a lot. After all, I myself kinda felt she was too young to be a shaman. And I don't even know what shamans do. But the chief? Ugh, he seems like one tough guy. Why would he be questioned? It almost sounded as if the elders had a hook on him, which in and of itself sounds rather scary. I might not have a full picture to truly understand the power dynamic of this tribe, but it seems the elders have a large sway. At this point, I'm not sure if it's my place to wonder such things, or if it's my prerogative to know the details due to the situation we're all in. I simply pick up a piece of ham and bite it. It's luscious, and the oaky aroma just makes me feel warm inside. This food, although very simple, really hits the spot. I don't know why, but I have a feeling I was such too much different type of meals. I was used to much different type of meals. A bit more complex, true, but devoid of this pure joy. Sweetie, you need vitamin C in your life. Those berries and fruits, you need that. You need antioxidant in your body. Because if you're just gonna eat meat, you're gonna be fat and full of cholesterol. I regard the parcel again, seeing that the selection is rather odd. I flash my brows as I decided to give it a try. I eat another berry while chewing a slice of ham, and to my surprise, the combination works. I'm like Ratatouille, like... The sweet and savory blend in an unexpectedly delicious way. That wolf surely knows how to please me. I look back towards the bedroom, and an involuntary smile creeps on my face as I admire Ranok's musculature. Even lazily splayed out on the bed, he looks extremely attractive. Wish I was this photogenic. Wish I was this photogenic. Wait, photo what? Ugh, another of those weird words I somehow understand, but have no context for. If this continues much longer, I'm going to go insane. There goes my appetite. I just sit there looking at the window with slight worry. I might be finding my bearing among these wolves. But I'm as much in the weeds with regards to who I am as I was the day I woke up. I'm just starved for answers, and I'm sure this is the reason why I push for additional information whenever I can. I need to keep an eye on this. I don't feel like pressing Ranok for unnecessary details, especially if he doesn't feel like divulging just yet. So far, trusting him worked just as fine. Realizing I won't be able to eat anymore, I simply walk to the cupboard and wash off my hands. I guess I should rest a bit as well. My body is aching all over from sleeping though. As I return to the bed, I can see that Ranok is already fast asleep, snoring slightly as his massive chest expands and falls down on a slow rhythm. Why? Why does this have a CG? What's the purpose? Why? What are you trying to tell us, game? His muzzle is burrowed into the pillows and slightly open, allowing his saliva to dribble out. I smile, knowing all too well his wolf drools in his sleep. I'm glad it's the pillows that will now soak up all that spit. You're so cute for someone so big, I mutter, finding the urge to just rub his belly, but he's too darn adorable not to! My hand reaches toward his breast, and I hesitate for a moment, like... That's when a lazy stretch... When a lazy hand stretched... Come on! When a lazy stretch ends up his body as the wolf readjusts himself slightly, and I cannot help myself anymore. I let my hand sink into his lush coat and of his chest, ruffling it gently. My fingers slide beneath the moonstone, for the first time feeling its surface. It's polished and heavier than I expected. I move it slightly out of the way so I can rub his breast. His expression adjusts into a soft smile. He's clearly enjoying this even through sleep. I move my hand gently towards the abdomen, trying not to stir him from his slumber. I ruffle his coat and around the navel, drawing another idle stretch from the wolf. I chuckle quietly. He's so fluffy, I'm gonna die! He's so fluffy, I'm gonna die! My fingers brush across his entire belly. His coat's soft and inviting, but even now I can clearly feel defined muscles beneath all that fur. He really didn't have an idle moment in his life. I press slightly harder just to give his abs a slight workout. He groans softly, and I instantly blush, noticing his loincloth tenses up. Like, wait, what? Are you saying you're gonna jerk him off? I'm no longer sure which one of us gets more out of this little simulation. I allow myself a few more moments, but as I notice my own excitement, I decided to stop. I exhale heavily, trying to release the pent-up tension like... Yogs! Yogs! That's it. Boo! This sucks. This got slightly awkward. Yota! Ambota. I rub my hands uncomfortably, trying to figure out what to do. For a moment I considered returning to the floor, but then I remembered his own words. Ranok wouldn't be happy if he found me like that again. I looked back at him, still sleeping in perfect bliss. He looked so peaceful that I decided to simply lay beside him, although keeping appropriate distance. He made it clear he's not interested, so I will respect our personal spaces. Right. Last thing I want is another awkward accident. I know his tendency to roll over, so I simply take one spare blanket and furl it up to create some sort of divider between us. So I lay there for a moment, feeling most of my body ache. Sleeping on the floor was not good for me, so the soft bed accompanied by this rhythmic breathing quickly puts me to sleep. Probably don't get to sleep long, as Ranok gets up after just a few hours. I have to admire his self-discipline, as getting out of the bed is almost like an uphill battle for me. What's this all about? Ranok points to my makeshift barricade as he rubs his eyes. I thought it would prevent, I wince uncomfortably. Oh. The wolf mutters sleepily. Oh! He almost shouts out in sudden realization. I can return to sleeping in the kitchen if you like. He proposes nonchalantly, and this time I'm the one shouting out in panic. No! No! No, 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 no. That is the last thing I want you to do. Well, this makes things a bit weird though. He gazes reluctantly at the rolled up blanket. After what you said, I just didn't want to. I tried to explain myself, but he cuts me off. Don't worry about it. It was a one-time fluke. He laughs. I simply never went to sleep like that before. You know, effectively snuggled up to someone. It was just to keep you warm, remember? Yeah, sure. Right. I don't think so! The wolf winks and gets up. Ah, dang! It'll never happen again. Not yet. Yeah. After many episodes later, I mumble, looking at as he approaches the window and opens the shutters. He stretches out as the light floods the room again. I watch as he goes into a whole routine of exercises, touching his toes and arching himself backwards. It's quite embarrassing to just sit here, but it will be even more so to join him and make a fool out of myself. I'm stiff like a plank, especially after sleeping rough. I have to run some errands today. My father is in a rather sour mood, as you can imagine. I need you to stay out of sight while I'm gone. Although you're allowed to stay in the village, you're still kinda controversial. Yeah, I figured. There goes our hike in the woods. Don't worry, it's not permanent. Not if I can help it. At the moment, you're freaking everyone out a little bit, but it should pass with time. I'm not happy about being cooped up in the house any longer, but I don't exactly have a choice in the matter either. I'm working with Verissa on a plan to smooth things over. Once that's done, you'll be introduced to the tribe proper. And that means... Let's worry about it when we get there, huh? He snorts, rubbing his nose. That's another non-answer as usual. I should start getting used to those by now. He walks away into the kitchen, and I decided to follow. We take turns in the water bowl, and during my wash-up, I realize my teeth feel rather coarse and my breath is not what I'd like it to be. Oh yeah, now that I question, how can you brush your teeth? It's already day 4. Or 5, I don't know, or 6. Day 5. It's already day 5. Do you guys clean your teeth at all? Perhaps with a brush or some paste? I swear, that theory about you being a lost human noble begins to check out on a near regular basis. The male laughs, approaching me with a teasing smirk. He presents me with a little birch twig, its flesh young and juicy. Grind the end with your teeth and then use the bristles to clean. What? He demonstrates, gnawing on an imaginary twig like... I shrug. No longer questioning this Renaissance fair I'm living through. In truth, it's actually all quite interesting. The twig has a rather pleasant, fresh flavor. Almost citrusy, in fact, and to my surprise, it's quite effective in what it's supposed to do. Oh my god, it's xylitol? Once I'm done, I rinse my mouth and look at Ranok, who approaches me with a smile. He randomly puffs into my face, his breath smelling incredibly fresh and pepperminty. Sorry. That's when he hands me a small bushel of fresh peppermint. Chew on it, and you'll be set. He winks. But how can you kill the fluoride? Can I have salt? Oh, what? You guys didn't know that I wash my teeth with salt, then I brush my teeth? It's to kill all the sugary substance in my teeth. I take a few leaves and put them into my mouth. And peppermint's really good. Mmm. I flash my brow in amusement. It's not that bad. It's peppermint. What do you expect? Spearmint is better though. Seeing that there isn't anything into which I could spit out the mush leaves, I simply swallow them. Yes, good. I mean, it's just peppermint. Ranok scrambles around the house frantically, collecting different bits and pieces of his gear. I join the wolf in the bedroom, resting against the doorframe and watching as he hastily combs his neck fur. It's hard to stifle a chuckle, both at his sorry attempts at taming his fluff and the fact that he's using the very same weapon I tried to fend off Vulgar. You need any help with that? Would you, really? He sounds almost pleading. Sure, why not? He was blushing. I approached the wolf, who passes me the comb with slight embarrassment in his eyes. I'm in a bit of a hurry, so this will be great help. Don't worry about it. I snicker, sinking the comb into his lush neck. At first, I'm worried there will be some tangles to struggle with. I wouldn't want to pull too hard as to not cause pain. However, his fur is well kempt. You think you'll take long? I ask while running the comb from the back of his head to the base of his shoulders. The sound of his fur against the comb is almost as satisfying as the brushing itself. I hope not, but you never know. Father wants me to deal with a few things. The idea of staying here alone is just as novel as it is slightly distressing. For some reason, I almost feel vulnerable when he's not around. What things? I'd rather not discuss that now. He sounds troubled, and although it does pique my curiosity, I decide not to pry. Ranok's made a good on coming forward with information at the right time before. I don't have a reason to distrust him. He groans softly, closing his eyes as I continue to groom him. Truth be told, brushing him feels rather nice, and I can see he's enjoying it as well, as his tail begins to swish energetically. Right, that'll have to do. He smiles, running a paw through his fluff. Thanks. No problem. I shrug. Honestly, I don't think I did much at all, as his fur was tidy to begin with. I'll try to come back as soon as I'm able. Verissa should check on you later today to change your dressing. Before you go, I will need to use the facilities. The wolf blinks. The facilities? What are you talking about? Oh no, he's making me spell it out for him. I really hate that I have to announce my toilet breaks. It's really awkward. I need to water the bushes, if you know what I mean. You know, I need to put out fire, and I need to feed the earth. Throw away the trash, you know? Butt vomits, you know? Oh! He finally exclaims in understanding, quickly looking at the kitchen door. Just use one of the buckets in the other room. No, I'm the one who blinks like, what? You can't be serious. Are you telling me you're doing your business in a bucket? What? No! Then what made you suggest me doing it? Well, I assume you just needed to pee, but if it's the number 2, then I, No, it's not number 2! I interrupt him, completely mortified about this entire conversation. I just won't be peeing into a bucket. La-di-da, my lord. He gets up, genuflecting in a mocking fashion. If your highness wants to do his business outside, you have to go through the window. Through the window?! He nods towards the ledge, and I sigh in mild annoyance. Oh, you've gotta be kidding me. Well, I meant to keep you out of sight, which is part of the whole ideal here. Using the front door isn't an option. He snickers, bumping my shoulders teasingly. Ugh, fine. I don't think you'll fit through. Sorry, but I don't think you'll... Huh? Fine, but I don't think I'll fit through. What? Good thing you're tiny then. Oh wait, no, it's you'll fit through. It's you we're talking about. Good thing you're tiny then. I give him an annoyed stare, grumbling under my breath. I will find out your pup name if it's the last thing I do. Sure you will. I could just ask Vulgar about it. He laughs, walking towards the kitchen. I'll meet you on the other side. I shake my head and approach the sill, slowly pulling myself into the ledge. Once I'm up, I look around for any sign of the wolf. It takes him a while to walk around the house, but once he arrives, he extends his paw, helping me down from the ledge, all the while smiling as I clumsily clamber over. You know, you can take this all off, to be honest. You can put these and put it on the over the drawer next to the bed. This is ridiculous. The wolf gives two quick glances in both directions, ensuring no one's around his house. Right. If it's just a leak, you can simply go here. He points to the side and I look around in confusion. What? Here. Oh! Yay! Here, against the wall. Against the wall! I'm not pissing on your house! I huff defiantly at the suggestion like, I'm not pissing at your house! What does it mean? What does it matter? I don't care and the house don't mind. And the house won't mind. I stand still, not even acknowledging it. Aw, are you a shy peer? Is that it? He asks mockingly. I'm not a shy peer! Well then, prove it. You want me to pee while you're watching me? Why? A challenging smirk stretches across his muzzle and my mouth opens wide. What? Here, I'll show you how it's done. What? I'll show you how it's done! He snickers and turns to the side, slowly What? I'm doing his pants! I quickly throw my gaze into the distance, shielding my eyes with a hand like... No! Don't show me anything! The wolf only chuckles as I hear a stream splash against the wall. Why? Ugh, dude! I mutter in annoyance, walking some distance away from him. You are a shy peer. And you're a shameless one! He knows how to make me feel uncomfortable, that's for sure. You bastard! Eventually, he joins me, still tightening up his pants. Once he's done, I can see his arm swoop to embrace me, but I manage to evade his grasp at the very last moment. Nope! You're not touching me with those paws until you wash them. I didn't piss on them. Ranok scoffs at the suggestion. I'm serious! He laughs, shaking his head and giving me an amused shrug. As you wish, my lord. Just take me to the toilet, please! I almost sound pleadingly, really getting more and more uncomfortable about this whole situation. The outhouse is a little bit further behind, he says with a worried tone. I'd rather have no one see you. You sure you can't just muster the courage to go here? Is this the only privy in the entire village? Or are you expecting people to be queuing up to yours in particular? Fine. Cut the snark. The wolf shakes his head and waves at me to follow. We walk few paces through the bushes until I can see a small shed nestled between the trees. Right, here it is. Yep. I nod, pretty much having my worst suspicions confirmed. I look around almost as if hoping that another toilet, more suited to my needs, materialized out of the blue. But I quickly realize there's no other way around it. Like, no. Okay, now if you won't mind, I sigh, shooing him away with my hands. I don't know about this. I'd rather stay close. Ranok, I'm not planning an escape and I doubt anyone is going to ambush me while I'm in the loo. I just want to have some privacy. I mutter in resignation and the wolf gives me an awkward smile. Fine. You're right. Sorry. He backs down slowly and I take a deep breath. It's just going to be the least favorite part of this entire misadventure. I tried to pull myself back into the ledge, but before I even knew it, Ranok aids me in my struggle. My eyes widen as his massive paw cups my butt, allowing the wolf to push me upwards. Oh, I think he likes that. Did he just fill me up? Yes, he did. For a guy who doesn't like men, he likes men. I dart my gaze back towards him, only to catch a glimpse of his cheeky expression as he rushes off into the distance. Stay put! His mocking command reaches me, and I shake my head in amusement like scampering through the windows. Feels so odd, but also kind of fun. There's something inherently childish about it, as if I'm I'm a naughty kid having a forbidden sleepover to a friend's house. Once I jump over the ledge, I almost trip over the clutter that previously occupied it. I have half a mind to just return all of this to the cell, but considering how musty this house is, I'd rather be able to leave the window open for a while. For the time being, I simply move it all to the cupboard. I'm just a guess. I shouldn't rearrange things. Yeah, but still, do it! When I placed the leather-bound book down, I decided to have a quick peek inside. I flipped the hardcover, curiously looking over the first page, wondering if I will recognize the lettering. To my surprise, it looks like a regular book, with regular writing. Oh my god. Brief history of Freyfall. Ah, a history book. Considering my circumstances, it's the last thing I needed. It will be like reading Chronicles of Narnia. Seems someone is a nerd. I laugh at my own joke. Putting the book away, only to have my heart sink immediately at the realization. I have no idea why it was so funny. What's Narnia anyway? What's a book? Forever lost. Whisper. Oh no, not this again. I quickly shake my head, not wanting to deal with another invasive current of thoughts. With Ranok gone, I don't have my safety net and cannot let this day drag on. I need to keep myself busy. Read the book! I glance around to find something to do, and the first thing that comes to my mind is tidying up the place. What? It's clear Ranok doesn't spend much time in his house, but that's no excuse to live with so much dust. That's not healthy. I remember seeing a broom earlier. It's right here! Near to the fireplace, so I walk into the kitchen to find it. I also open all the windows, leaving all the doors to the bedroom ajar so that the fresh air could run through the house while I commence my cleaning. I grab the bedroom and immediately get to work of brushing all the dirt from the floor and gather up all the cobwebs dotting the walls and corners. Over time, I begin to collect a small heap which I only grow by brushing more and more dust from all the different nooks and crannies. As I don't see a shovel anywhere, I decide to use one of the dirty linens still bundled up in the bedroom. I laid it out flat in the middle of the floor and simply brushed a mound of dust into it. I then bring the corners together, effectively creating a sack. Okay, Snow White! Once that is done, I simply walk over to the window and chuck the dirt outside, clapping the linen over the ledge to dust it off. I rest myself against the wall, rubbing my forehead and releasing an exhausted sigh like, this was a bit of a workout. But just as I try to rest, the nagging sensation in my stomach returns. Nope, not today, Dark Thoughts. I won't let you overwhelm me even if I have to clean this house inch by inch. Holding the dirty cloth in my hand gives me an idea. I rush over towards the water bowl and decide to use the remaining content to wash the floors. I simply dip the cloth and then rub it over the wooden panels. Slowly but surely, each plank regains its shine and polish. Okay. I almost thought this was naked wood, but turned out it was only dull because of all the dirt and grime. The draft makes cleaning that much easier and pleasant, with cool breeze gently kissing my skin. I stop now and then to nibble on what remained from my breakfast. I don't know how long I spent on my knees. Cleaning the floors might have been 2 or 3 hours. Eventually, I end up in the bedroom, finishing the last panel. I stretch out, feeling the pain in the back of my hand, but also the sense of pride at the fruit of my labor. I used whatever water was left behind to clean up the surface, dusting off everything with a damp cloth. I could see some stray wolves passing by the window from time to time, taking a curious gander inside. I guess they just want to sneak a peek at the human, and I can't blame them. And the role's been reversed, and I learned one of my friends had a werewolf inside their house. I would have done the same. As the afternoon turns into an evening, I admire my handiwork. The cottage looks quite homely now. Homely or homey? I think it's homey. And just as on cue, I hear knocking at the door. For a moment, I wonder whether I should actually answer. That's when the familiar cold voice reaches me. Piglet! Ah, of course. I sigh through a smile, quickly opening the doors. Got some food for you. The black male stands in the doorway, holding in his paw a loaf of bread and a string of sausages. Hey, don't step on my clean floors! Thank goodness. All All this work was making me quite hungry. Not to mention I just lost my only source of occupation that allowed me to steady my emotions. Will you stay with me for a while? The black male regards me with a raised brow, clearly surprised by the suggestion. Don't worry, it's not an immoral proposition. I'd like some company, now that everyone knows I'm here. It should be fine, right? The desperation doesn't suit you, Piglet. He scoffs, walking past me and entering the cabin. I hastily close the door as the wolf approaches the table and inspects one of the tankards. Might as well grab a beer if I'm up to pup sit you. He teases, like looking at me expectantly. Sure, if there's any. I shrug, looking around the kitchen. Vulgar points towards the barrel, standing in the corner of the room. Guess Ranok's home is pretty well stacked up. He always staches the good stuff. Vulgar passes me the mug, shoving it to my chest. I guess he expects me to fetch the beer for him. I just shrug and decide to play along. I'm Bota! As I approach the barrel, I notice it doesn't have a tap, but I can see the lid has a handle on it. I lift it up and submerge the mug in the dark liquid. As I bring it back to Vol, he has already seated himself comfortably at the table, his gaze clearly darting around the house in my music like, "Hello, sweetie! Do you want your beer?" I see Ranok has found himself a little den wife. What? What? I blurred out, blush appearing on my face almost instantly. Like, what, Nani? It was extremely dirty in here. He croons teasingly, taking a gulp of ale and sliding the bread and sausages across the table towards me. Seriously! I don't want to get allergies. It's enough that there's fur everywhere. I can't do without dust. What's allergies? He asks indifferently, catching me off guard. It's how do I explain it? It's when your body reacts badly to certain things, like getting a rash or a stuffy nose. I propose grabbing a knife and cutting off a thick slice of bread. The wolf gives me a skeptical look as I enjoy the wonderful aroma of a freshly baked loaf. Dust makes you ill? He scoffs, taking another sip. Yes, it does! Too much of it. Well, it can. Fur as well, but so far, I'm fine. To be fair, I can't recall if I ever was allergic to fur or dust, but I'm not going to admit I cleaned the entire house because I'm slowly losing my damn mind. I was simply tidying up because the last thing I need is getting allergies. Especially since it's spring. There's plenty of pollen in the air. Vulgar puts the mug down and drills his gaze into me. Flowers makes you ill as well? Fuck me, I might as well just roll over and die. I curl up my lips, staring at the ceiling. You're not a human! You wouldn't understand! Do beastmen even have allergies? I toy with a piece of bread, squishing the slice between my fingers. It's still warm and up sprightly. I doubt anyone in Avalon would understand your nonsense. On that, we can agree. I swear, there's nothing more satisfying than a smell of fresh bread. Seriously, are we talking about the bread? Or are we talking about your allergies or the spur of the moment? It completely distracts me from Vulgar's jabs, inviting to take bite, and I finally succumb. I gasp, feeling the crust crunch between my teeth. The taste of the rustic grain immediately summoned emotions tied to some long-lost memory. And a more wholesome time of happiness and joy. I'm in heaven. Doesn't take much to please you, huh? The wolf comments on my obvious satisfaction with a slightly troubled expression. You have no idea how much I wanted some fresh bread. It's almost as if you read my mind. Actually, it was Ranok's idea. He looks at the window. Oh. Ever since he found you, he was learning about humans. Your history, customs, staples of your diet. I discreetly dart my gaze around the house, locating different books stashed in corners. Now that Vulgar mentioned it, Ranok doesn't strike me as a scholarly type. He was doing his research while I was still unconscious? It makes me feel almost humbled. We don't care much for bread, it's prey chow. There's hardly any around that hasn't gone stale.
But now that you're no longer a secret, he asked for one to be made fresh for you.
Oh! I blink, taking in what he just said. Ranok went to all this trouble for me? Huh. That's extremely considerate and sweet of him. But at this point, it's hard to differentiate between just his general kind-hearted nature and something more. Am I reading into things again? Probably. I mean, he did say he's not into me.
Everything's alright.
The black male asks idly, as he takes another thirsty gulp from his tankard. Yeah. I smile, biting into the bread again. As I chew, I grab the knife and cut off a piece of sausage. I give it a quick sniff before stuffing it in my mouth. Only now I notice that the wolf has been avoiding looking at me for quite a while now. Oh yeah! I forgot! He doesn't like looking at us while eating. I almost choked, trying to swallow my food through a laugh. Dude, you stabbed me! Being an experienced butcher, I'm sure you've seen worse things than me eating.
Want a bet?
He sneers teasingly, giving me a side eye. I just shake my head in amusement and continue my meal. The sausage is nice, a little bit too garlicky for my taste. However, it's not going to complain about free food. All of this is extremely wholesome and makes me feel warm inside, as if an echo of my past tried to scream through the shroud of my amnesia. I've had to enjoy a homely meal like this before. I just sigh, relishing this sliver of a good memory. We sit like this for a while simply finishing his ale and not saying much. He doesn't seem to be much of a talker, but I don't mind. His company allows me to steel myself against any nagging feelings stalking the recesses of my mind. I just wish I had something to start a conversation with.
Despite the bandage looking rather gruesome, you seem to be doing fine.
Oh, yeah. I smile awkwardly, reminded that the dressing is pretty much red and crusty. Well, you did a great job. I rub my side to put him at ease. It looks worse than it feels, that's for sure. Vol readjusts himself, patting the hilt of his dagger.
Since you enjoyed it so much, I could do it again.
No! He gives me a satisfied grin. At this point, it's hard to tell whether he's teasing or being serious, but I decide to just laugh it off.
One has to wonder if you're not into it, considering how you almost begged to get skewered.
What? I roll my... What? I only did that because my life depends on it. I roll my eyes, giving him a stern look as the joke becomes slightly tortured. What are you on about? What are you on about?
The chief?
He asks mockingly.
I've heard Ranok's father nearly cut you open like an actual pig.
The wolf snorts, loudly slurping the remnants of his beer, while I wince comfortably. Yeah. I'm not proud of my carelessness. Had Verissa not intervened, I wouldn't be here.
You dropped the ball, Piglet. I told you to be careful.
The male nods, giving me a patronizing look. I know. I'm just grateful Verissa stuck up for me.
She didn't do it for you, nor she had any other choice.
He shrugs, toying with the now nearly empty tankard.
Have you been killed without her making her case? All of us will face serious consequences.
I assume as much. I sink in my shoulders, awkwardly trailing my gaze around the room. Somehow, I feel embarrassed as if I disappointed him.
But you have more luck than brains.
He snorts, noticing my discomfort.
The little runt went straight for his dad. Had it been Tano, he'd go for one of the elders and we'd all be fucked.
Perhaps you should tell that to Ranok. I mutter, immediately recalling my conversation with the wolf. He seems to hold a grudge against his brother.
Why shouldn't he? The pup is nothing but trouble.
The black male scoffs in annoyance. He's still his brother.
Half-brother. And siblings don't mean much to us.
He waves his paw impatiently.
Each of us is expected to have multiple pups, most of which with a different partner. So, the only reason to keep track of all the blood relation is to not accidentally bugger one of them.
He lets out a loud snort, as if the idea amused him. Yeah. Ranok's told me as much. Their way of life is different, definitely much different than what I expected.
Why are you worrying about that pup anyway? He has nothing to do with you.
I just worry. I wouldn't want Ranok to take it out on him.
Two peas in a pod.
The black male scoffs, slushing the remnants of his drink around the cup. What do you mean?
You and Ranok.
He shrugs, taking the last gulp of his poison.
Worrying about strangers to get you into trouble is exactly what started this whole mess.
Then you know I'm right, because saving me was a kind thing to do.
Kindness is what gets people killed.
The black wolf nods toward the other tankard on the table.
Are you going to have one?
I look at his risen brow. I'm not much of an ale drinker. Okay, according to the guide, to the guide I have here, I created my own guide. It says, agree to get his affections. So agree. But I guess I can humor the wolf. Yeah, sure.
Then be a good servant and fill mine up as well.
I blink as he pushes his mug towards me, but decide not to make much of his tease. I walk over to the barrel and plunge the tankards one by one, filling them up to the brim with the dark liquid. It's almost as black as coffee. Ooh, coffee would be great. But something tells me that it will join the likes of salt and soap. Another frivolity to tease me over. I place the tankard next to the black wolf and he picks it up.
Slante.
He raises his mug. What? Clearly waiting for me to cling mine to it. To clang! Slante! I oblige and we spill a little bit in the process. I cannot contain a timid chuckle as I sit back and take a sip. The bitterness of the brew hits me almost instantly. It's malty and rich, almost like roasted cereal. Oh, that's good! It tastes good! I like that. I like roasted cereal. There's also a hint of floral sweetness to it that I cannot wrap my finger around. I smack my lips, licking off thin foam that linger on them. It's like no beer I ever drank, that's for sure. It's butterbeer! If I drank any, that is.
Enjoying it?
I think ale is an acquired taste, no? He raises his brows. Considering I never had anything like it before, only time will tell. I can see my comment catches him by surprise and he laughs, shaking his head.
Cheeky little piglet.
He takes a long, thirsty gulp, all the while gazing at me, almost as if expecting me to match his tempo. Yeah, that's not going to happen, buddy, but I'm willing to at least try. I take another mouthful, barely even tapping into the contents of the oversized mug. That's definitely more than a pint, at least 2 times more.
If you're going to sip it like a housefly, you might finish before next full moon.
He snorts as I swallow my drink. I huff in annoyance and take another, this time much deeper gulp. Forcefully chugging the ale might not be pleasant, but it's actually better than the lingering bitterness when I take my time with it. Speaking of... I look at his moonstone, finally having a somewhat natural segue into a proper conversation with him. Are all wolves born during the same night, moon brothers? Like you and Ranok? I shrug, taking a bite of the sausage to get rid of the aftertaste. In truth, now the sausage doesn't seem that bad. It pairs well with the ale. Masks its bitterness, that's for sure. I look to Vulgar expectantly as he takes his time with another gulp. He eventually lets out a sigh and rubs his lips.
Why do you ask?
Well, since you said blood relation don't mean much, I'm kind of curious as you to make a big deal out of the moon brother thing. How do wolves become moon brothers?
You have to be born in the waters of the same moon well during the same phase of a luna.
A moon well? I ask, cutting off another slice of bread. I watch as the wolf walks over to the ale barrel, helping himself to a third mug. It's surprising how fast he goes through those. I'm not even halfway finished.
There is a shallow pool at the center of our shrine. It's lined with small stones and filled with clear spring water.
He explains, sipping off the excess that began spilling from the mug as he retrieves it from the barrel. I think it's safe to say he enjoys the ale more than my company.
The pool supposedly collects the moonlight, blessing the waters, which then are used for different religious purposes.
Like birth? I look at him as he takes his seat.
Among others.
The wolf shrugs as he wets his lips again. I can see he's nowhere near getting drunk. It's almost like drinking water to him. I just have a suspicion that once he has his fill, he'll simply fuck off. I need to pace him a little, so I cut off a piece of sausage and push it his way. He smiles at my gesture and takes a bite.
Those are for you.
I know, but they pair well with the beer, and it's plenty enough for me. I smile, taking an idle sip.
Fair play.
He shrugs, flicking up the remaining piece of sausage and swallowing it with a loud chomp.
Anyway, when a female goes into a labor, she is brought to the well. Once a pup is born, one of the pebbles reveals itself as a moonstone. I'll have 2 females go into the labor at the same time. Well, you can guess the rest.
That sounds magical. I smile, genuinely amazed by the concept. It sounds so simple and in tune with nature. Their traditions, even if odd, to have a certain allure to them.
I guess so. I'm sure there is some trick involved. There's always a trick in religion.
So he scoffs in annoyance.
I wouldn't place much stock in the coincidence of being born at the same time as another pup. That's just sappy nonsense.
Well, you believed it. You don't believe in it? It's almost amusing how polar opposite those 2 wolves are, with Ranok screaming fate on everything he sees, while Vol sniffing out some sort of deceit everywhere he looks.
I might not have I might not believe in the supernatural aspects of my bond with Ranok, but I've heard enough about the circumstances of my birth to concede a simple fact. We are Moon Brothers. The rest is fluff.
Oh? I issue involuntarily, expecting a follow-up, but the wolf does not respond. Instead, Vol simply takes another long swig of his tankard, emptying it in one go. Once he bangs it back into the table, he looks at me with confusion.
What?
What were the circumstances of your birth?
Ugh.
He rolls his eyes in annoyance. I guess he didn't mean to mention it.
We can
have another, I propose, to which he only gives me a telling gaze.
How can you have another if you haven't even finished your first one?
He knows I'm fishing for detail, but how can he blame me? Please, you can't leave me hanging like this.
Try me.
He scoffs, standing up. I'm losing him. Okay, I didn't want to do this, but you kind of owe me for the choking.
Smart. I owe you. I owe you, you say.
He laughs mockingly.
Press your luck further, Piglet, and you'll earn another scar.
I watch as he approaches the door, and I fidget with my fingers in panic. Wait, Chotomate! At this point, I don't know if it's about the story itself or the fear of being left alone. Moonshine! I shout out as his paw lands on the door handle, almost surprised by the word that came out of my mouth. We can have some moonshine? He croons, narrowing his eyes and looking back at me.
That desperate, huh?
The black wolf snickers, approaching the cupboard, and I sighed internally.
Very well.
He walks towards the cupboard and retrieves the familiar clay bottle. I watch as he removes the cork with his teeth, causing a loud.
Here, earn it.
He passes me the bottle and I swallow heavily, feeling the boozy smell hit me once again. This is not going to be pleasant, but I better put my money where my mouth is. I reluctantly grab the bottle, remembering his initial tip. I tilt my head back and allow a large gulp to slush straight into the back of my throat, swallowing deeply. He mutters in amusement, seeing as I manage to stomach 2 long swigs.
Not bad for a suckling.
Oh, now I'm a suckling, huh? I mean, sorry. So Romiz is a suckling now, huh? He guzzles down nearly twice as much as I did, and passes me the bottle again. It takes all my willpower not to wince, as I force myself to take another gulp. Once I put the bottle down on the table, I quickly stuff my mouth with a piece of sausage. Well then?
Why are you so insistent?
He reaches for the bottle and takes another swig. I just want to get to know you.
There's nothing worse than an either drinking buddy.
The bottle slides across the boards towards me.
Especially if they cannot keep up.
I narrow my brow defiantly, taking a long cup of the booze. I'm not really paying it any mind at this point. It stopped burning as it used to. I bang the bottle on the table and look at him angrily. I can't keep up! Don't worry. I look at him expectantly, to which he simply shrugs. Sorry.
I didn't agree to anything, did I?
Ah, come on, not fair.
Life ain't fair, Piglet. Better get used to it.
Come on, Paul, don't be like that.
Ugh, Verissa's right. You talk too much. Especially for someone with death penalty over their head.
The tribe already knows I'm here.
Yeah, will be shame if they find out you can speak as well.
He nods towards the open windows. Ah, Paul chuckles, watching me scramble to close them one by one.
Relax, Piglet. It was just a joke. No one would dare to eavesdrop on us while I'm here.
Not even Howl? Not even Howl? I stop my frantic efforts, looking at him with worry.
Especially not Howl. He ain't the bravest pup in the pack, and in this tribe, everyone knows to stay the f away from me. Maybe in time I can teach you that as well. Mighty curious how for a prey kin you seem to have a very little survival instincts.
I roll my eyes, slightly annoyed. He caused my heart to pound like a drum. Thanks. I really needed a good scare. I mumbled, returning to my seat.
It wasn't a scare, Piglet. You are as clueless as an actual livestock. If anyone around finds out that you're ready for the knife, it's off to the chopping block.
Again, I rolled my eyes. This time at this apt analogy. Thanks. Noted. Simple. Keep the windows closed when talking with Ranok would suffice.
You should cut the talking to a minimum, really.
Hey!
This cottage became a talking point, and there will be plenty of noses sniffing about. Anyway, time for me to go.
He stands up and takes a final gulp from the clay bottle.
Stayed here long enough as it is.
Why? Afraid other wolves will think you're enjoying the company of another kin? I grumbled, thinking it was a jab at me.
As if I care what others think. I simply can see you've got your hands full.
What? He looks around the clean house. Aww.
Ranok's dirty laundry won't clean itself.
Oh, you dipota ka! Wait a minute! Wait a minute! That's not part of the deal! I'm not his housemaid! You
Besides, you're all out of booze.
He tips the bottle over and let it roll towards the edge of the table, forcing me to rush in to catch it before it crashes against the floor.
Nice one.
He winks at me in approval as he pulls up on the front door.
Verissa should be with you in a bit. Try not to get killed between now and then.
The black wolf nods and leaves the house. With Vulgar gone, I'm faced again with the dreaded feeling of loneliness. No, not loneliness, but being alone. For whatever reason, I feel almost under siege when there's no one around me. I need to occupy myself with the growing fear inside my chest. I have to do it now. I quickly glance at the cupboard, remembering that Vol mentioned Ranok did some research of my kind. Considering my morning conversation with the Grey Wolf, it might be a good idea to try to find out more about my people. At least it'll be something to do. I approach the cupboard and pick up the topmost volume. It's this. It's bound in gilded red leather with a large golden plate dotting its cover. It means this. The emblem is diamond shaped and has stylized paw print pressed into it. It looks awfully expensive, that's for sure. 6 tribes of Turnen. As I flip through the pages, it seems to be some sort of a chronicle. There are different names written on it, supported by dates and details relating to them. It's a long and boring roll call of people long dead, going by the way the pages age. Nope, this one's of no use to me, especially without context. I mean, there might be some human names there, but then again, how would I know? How would I know? Also, the paw print on the cover tells me it's rather unlikely. I place the book down and pick up a blue tome which lied beneath it. It's much larger, even though more humbly decorated. The Great Tiger Rebellion. I said and it says Another history book, and this one obviously not about humans. I wonder why Ranok has it. Surely it didn't aid him in his research. I'm about to put it down when I realize these wolves kept bringing tigers up an awful lot. Might be worth giving it a quick read. I sit myself down comfortably, browsing through the book. It's a hefty volume, and I don't feel like reading it whole. Not to mention by the looks of the sun in the sky, there's little daylight left anyway. I skim the pages as briefly as I can, each of them filled with dates and names that mean nothing to me and which are gone from my mind the moment I read them. However, on the whole, it seems to be a detailed account of an ancient war spanning a century or so, which started as the title suggested by the Tigeri raising in rebellion against the Old Kingdom. Seems that long ago Avalon used to be ruled by lions, who at least according to this book were monstrous tyrants. At first the Tigeri fought alone, but over the years their bravery attracted other kin to join their struggle. Decade by decade their alliance grew until at the very end the Old Kingdom was no more and the Lion King and the Lion King had to be abdicated. It's so surreal to read about other beastmen. This really is a living, breathing world with its own history and customs. How can I feel so misplaced here? I sigh in frustration, burying myself into the book. It's not a pleasant read, and in fact, most of the information is lost on me, but at least it passes the time. Oh, you got to be bloody kidding me. Eventually, I placed the book down, utterly confused by the contents. None of this rings any bells. However, from the looks of things, the tigers don't seem to be as bad as the wolves paint them to be. Even more odd is the fact wolves do not feature in this book. I quickly glance over the pages again, trying to find any mention of them, but it's almost as if they didn't exist. Before I can expand on my research, I hear a knock on the door. It must be Verissa. Why did it take so long for her to come here? I closed the book with a slight relief, returning it back to the cupboard. Not only was the read very dull, but in this dimly lit room it was outright laborsome on my eyes. I barely noticed how dark it got. Romiz, you there? I approached the door without a word, remembering Vol's warning. I pull on the latch, releasing the lock and allow Verissa to enter. The female rushes into the room and I quickly close the door behind her. You're uncharacteristically quiet. Good. She nods in satisfaction. But don't worry. I wasn't followed. The feast starts soon, so very few would waste their time here. What about Tano? Who's Tano again? My, it can be taught. She smiles with genuine pride on her muzzle. He's busy. I made sure of it. He won't have time to sniff about. I watch as she walks over to the shelf and retrieves the small plate. I think Tano is the name of his father? Of Ranok's father, I mean. Only now do I notice she has a small sash at her waist, from which she takes a small vial, and some fresh bandages. Why are you sitting in the dark? I was cleaning, yeah. Yeah, that's it, cleaning. I was clean. Do I really want to admit I have no idea how to start a fire without burning this house to the ground? You don't have a flint. She's been questioning my age an awful lot. I don't want to come across as utterly clueless as well. I prefer it this way. Less conspicuous. Right. I can see this wasn't exactly a convincing answer. Well, I have it your way. She kneels down, slowly undoing my reddened dressing. I watch as strip after strip is removed, revealing my blood-crusted side. There is a large scab covering the cut itself, but otherwise everything looks fine. How do you find your current living arrangements? Well, I cleaned them! She asks absent-mindedly while inspecting my entire side. What do you mean? Do you like it here with Ranok? I guess. It's a simple yes or no question, Romiz. The female mutters, giving me a telling look. Yes! Sorry, I'm happy here. Again, she sounds unconvinced. Why do you ask? I ask because the elders prefer to house you in the stockades. The stockades, our prison, and at first I was inclined to agree on the count of your. She cuts up diplomatically, obviously trying to find a proper word. Okay, because I'm human, I'm otherkin. I decide to spare her the trouble. Cup? Yeah, quite so. She smiles softly, placing a small cloth into the plate and pouring the content of the phial over it. The tincture has a slightly purple color, and I immediately soaks into immediately soaks into the material. That got Ranok fired up like little Lever does. He insisted you became his ward instead. Peculiar choice, but he is the heir apparent. It was hard for the elder to say no, especially since he was ready to tear anyone to shreds over the issue, myself included. My eyes widen in shock, and she chuckles, catching my surprise. Figuratively, speaking of course. At least in my case. Either way, to soften that spectacle and to make his claim on you somewhat less obvious, I offered to take you under my wing instead. What? She shrugs, giving my wound a slight push, and I wince in discomfort like Sharp or dull pain? Dull, but only when you press too hard. Curious. Her muzzle twists in a frown as she looks intently at my scar. You want me to live with you? Well, it's more complicated than that, but yeah. Should you ever want to change your accommodations, all you need to do is let me know. It might take a while to settle, but no! I blurt out almost in panic, catching her attention, but she doesn't say anything. I'm really happy here. It feels like home already. Ranok takes good care of me. Indeed. The female narrows her eyes ever so slightly, but enough for me to register that little shift. Although, thank you for letting me know. I'll keep it in mind. She begins to wipe my side, cleaning it all of the dried blood. And I feel a slight tingling, followed by stinging. Okay. I wince in discomfort again, but she pays me no mind, her brow still narrowed in focus. Technically, you're under house arrest, and as much as it doesn't sit well with me, as it doesn't sit well with Ranok, I'd rather go more subtly about it. I just want you to know that you have a choice, as limited as it is. Thank you, Verissa. That means a lot. Once the entire side is cleaned, she pokes slightly at the scab. Does it hurt? I shake my head. Good. She continues to wipe the scab, washing away much of the dried blood and reducing it in size until she reveals a fresh wound beneath. She then pours the remaining contents of the phial directly over it, causing me to seize up in pain. It's okay. Don't touch it! She says softly, grabbing the clean dressing and covering the cut. So, you guys getting along okay? Does that surprise you? A little bit. Why? Call it female intuition and personal experience. Ranok can be a little much at times. Yeah. I try to chuckle, ignoring the pain radiating through my entire left side, but I still come across as slightly unnerved. Seems like I'm onto something. I didn't become a shaman for nothing, you know. She begins wrapping my side with clean strips of bandages, making sure that the new dressing sits nice and tight on my skin. I watch as she works her paws around me in silence, but eventually she forces me to speak up. Well then, you're going to tell me? It's nothing, really. I just struggled with reading that wolf. He's very forward, not that I mind. He just takes me by surprise half the time. She pauses her task and looks at me with slight surprise. Quickly, however, the surprise is replaced with a knowing smile, and she returns to bandaging me up. That's Ranok, all right. I swear, that wolf never stopped being a pup. He was playful and teasing ever since we were little. Not to mention he's a massive flirt. I almost choke on that remark like, can you tell us his pup name? Sometimes I think he doesn't even realize it. It used to drive me insane, but then I understood it's just how he is. At the end of the day, he's a flatterer. He loves to flatter others just as much as he likes to flatter himself. Yeah, Sounds about right. I nod awkwardly. Don't let that fluster you. That's what that's what he's after. If you ignore his teasing, he'll quickly get bored and move on to other jokes. As a last resort, you can just slap his ears. Who knows, it's long overdue. Problem is, I don't think I want him to move on to other jokes. But I really think those are just jokes. I just want him to flirt more and just be me who he's flirting. Oh. Perhaps it's just his way of coping with this extremely oppressive society. That, or I'm again reading into things as is typically of me. It's nice to recognize some behavioral patterns among all this blackness. It's almost as if I'm meeting myself as a completely new person. There! All done. She smiles, admiring her handiwork and patting my side. Thank you! I look down, glad to be rid of that bloody horror show. You're welcome. This was very fortuitous, you know? She mutters, collecting the reddish stripes from the floor. What was? You started bleeding almost as if on cue. Made the whole scene so much more believable. Well, I wasn't acting. He did wolf handle me a bit. The female laughs at my poor joke. Oh yeah, I didn't thought of that. Yes, but still, seems the ancestors really look after us in our little gambit. Which is a good omen for sure. So we need all the help we can get to see this through. Thus, I'll be burning those at the altar as well. She wiggles my old bundled bandages. That's the key to my protection here, right? Sort of. They are an offering to our ancestors. It's done when one of us is gravely wounded as a sort of intercession. One of you? I emphasize to let her know. Wait, one of you! One of you! I emphasize to let her know the distinction wasn't lost on me. Drastic times calls for drastic measures. Either way, only a shaman can do this, and only a shaman can determine if the offering was accepted. So here we are. Wait, was it though? Accepted, I mean. She looks at me a bit shocked that I would ask such a question. Her troubled expression leaves me feeling slightly queasy, making the answer all the more obvious. Nobody knows what the future holds, Romiz. Only time will tell. But for now, everything turned out alright. I give her a slight smile, nodding softly towards my patch up side. Well, as alright as it possibly could, all things considered. She chuckles and I watch as she slowly packs up her things. I follow her with my gaze as she returns the plate to the shelf, feeling a void growing in my chest. The same nagging feeling of desperation fills my heart, and I know another panic attack fast approaches. She's about to leave and I don't really want her to. But before I manage to say anything, she gives me a worried look. What's the matter? Why is your heart aching? Heart racing, sorry. Fuck, I keep forgetting about that creepy ability. However, in this instance, it saves me begging another person to keep me company. I'm fine, sorry. Just a little anxious. Well, it's to be expected in your situation. It wasn't exactly a peaceful experience for you these past few days. She pulls up a chair and sits down at the table, looking at me with a smile. No! More scenes for her with her. I can stay with you for a bit. Not long though, I'm needed at the feast. It will be a great insult if I left the chief hanging at the dinner table. Is Ranok going to be there? I ask, worried he'll be held up longer than I would like. Last time he returned quite late. No. She smiles, again giving me this unnerving knowing look. He was pretty adamant when he was pretty adamant. He will come straight to his home after his patrol. Oh, you shouldn't have. He shouldn't have. No, he shouldn't. The female agrees with a quite serious tone. However, she quickly chuckles it off. But I long realize that this wolf will do as he pleases, no matter what. She looks her gaze with the clay bottle at the table and gently pushes at it, letting it wobble in place for a moment. I see Vol took advantage of your hospitality. Wow, she's very perceptive. Not as much as I would like. I laugh. I thought we were bonding. He almost told me about the moon brother thing when he suddenly bolted. If you want personal details from Vol, you need more moonshine than that. She nods towards the bottle, clearly entertained by the idea of my attempt at befriending the Black Wolf. He's not the one to open up easily. Still, him staying even for a little bit is a huge success. How so? Vol is more likely to pick a fight than a conversation. In fact, the only wolf he sees to tolerate is Ranok. Those two. She sighs with genuine admiration. A bond like that is extremely rare, even among our people. I smile, quite touched by the sentiment. They do seem to be true friends, and afraid to call each other out of their bullshit. Something I'm sure is rare even among humans. You and the rest of us, those two are like two sides of the moon, and their moonstones attest to that. Both seem to suggest his bond with Ranok has nothing to do with the moonstones themselves. She smiles, scoffing softly in amusement. That's his cynical side. He's always wary of everything he cannot see or understand. But at the same time, I can empathize with him. After all, if people avoided you and you were told your entire life that you're damn only because of your necklace, you'd be quite resentful as well. What do you mean? I blink in confusion, causing the female to pause. Her gaze drifts to the side as she clearly ponders whether or not she said too much. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to pry. No. I think you should. I think you should know. She finally faces me again with a rather serious expression. It should make things a little bit clearer. I nod expectantly. Our births take place in a moonwell. It's a shallow pool of water at the center of our shrine, which collects the light of a luna and infuses the waters in it. I know, Vol explained as much, but why would he be considered damned? The dark moon is a very bad omen. What the hell? The sudden one? Music? The dark moon is a very bad omen. In fact, one of the worst. No female would give birth under it if she could help it. Why? Dark moon represents the unforgiving, ruthless side of a Luna. She's the goddess of many faces, and a total eclipse is her most terrifying one. When Vol came into the world, he was seen as the avatar of her wrath, and everyone held their breath. I narrow my brow, slightly skeptical. It's quite easy to brush off one's behavior to the coincidental phenomena. Vol might be quick to anger, but I'm sure it's rather the result of years being picked on, rather than the omen itself. And just as everyone held their breath, so did the pup. I tilt my head in confusion. Vol wasn't breathing, nor moving, with eyes closed shut. He was stillborn. The cute My eyes widen in shock, and I almost feel a void growing inside my stomach. I know he's alive and well, but damn! I did not expect such a turn in his story. When a pup is born, a moonstone appears at the bottom of the pool. But as much as he tried, the shaman couldn't find one, confirming the unthinkable. Vol's mother was heartbroken and refused to leave the well. She cursed the name of Luna, then bargained with her, and finally she begged, all to no avail. The pain and suffering the poor female must have been impossible to describe. She simply resigned herself to sitting there, in those waters, frozen in place and holding her unmoving newborn tight. I swallow heavily, my eyes slightly glossed over. I cannot even begin to imagine the horror of having your child die, let alone having it die before it was even born. Shortly after, Ranok's mother arrived at the shrine unexpectedly. Although her pup wasn't due yet, she suddenly went into labor. She was brought into the same waters resting next to Vol's mother, and just as the last slivers of darkness departed the Luna's ever-changing image, another pup came into the world. Ranok's very first yelp caused Vol to finally stir to life and open his eyes. Their first glances weren't to their respected mothers, but to each other instead. Wow, kind of reminds me of Dramatical Murder! A subtle smile stretches across my face. Within the same moment, the shaman picked up both stones together, one fully black and the other fully white. It was almost as if Vol was waiting for his brother to join him, refusing to enter this world alone. That's absolutely beautiful. It's hard to hide how moved I am by this story, but Verissa doesn't judge. In fact, she only smiles, nodding in agreement. It is, and so is their unique relationship. They are the two sides of the same goddess, one full of hatred and coldness, the other loving and forgiving. I chuckle, awkwardly rubbing my cheek to remove a stray tear. I can certainly attest to their polarity from first-hand experience. Ever since those two are at each other's side, inseparable. Just like Mother Moon intended. Nothing would get between them. It would seem not even you. I look at her confused. Why would I get between them? I would never. You already did. Vol is extremely duty-bound. He would do anything for his people. As an outsider, you were a major threat. Every instinct in his body told him to kill you outright, but... She paused, sighing through a smile. Vol would sooner die than betray Ranok, or cause him pain. That sort of loyalty can be bought. You are the greatest test of his devotion. And that devotion is the only reason why you're even alive. The female takes on a more serious tone. Make no mistake, Romiz. Vol tolerates you because Ranok is dead set on you. If not for Ranok, he would have killed you without a second thought. I wince uncomfortably, the feeling of utter confidence in the black male slightly weakened. I always knew it's Ranok whom I owed my life. I just never realized how true this sentiment really was. Vol might be too blind to see it, but your fate was already decided those 2 decades ago, when as a frail pup, he refused to draw his first breath. Fate doesn't happen overnight. It's laid out from the beginning of time, until the end of the world. That is why it's hard to see it at times. That is why it's near impossible to read it with any sense of certainty. You're basically gazing into eternity, hoping to catch a specific moment in time. She pauses, letting the words sink in, and I'm dumbfounded. Everything she says is true. Had Vol not forged this connection with Ranok, I would never welcome him in this cabin. This is also why I cannot always give a clear answer. Even I have to wait until the truth reveals itself to me. And that takes time and patience. One just have to observe and listen. You're alive because seemingly unrelated events happen at different times, forming a very specific pattern. She vocalizes my own thoughts, causing me to blink in realization. That's what Ranok said. Fate is a lot of things fall into place in just the right way. I quote the Grey Wolf, almost surprised at how profound his wisdom was. Verissa closes her eyes and smiles, betraying a hint of pride. Well, I'm glad to hear he's not just a goof around you. He's not as bad as you might make him out to be. I mutter defiantly. You think I don't know that? She laughs me off. He's my friend. He has been one for a long time, and will continue to be for many years to come. I'm only harsh on him because I know he's capable of being better. Because that's what he always tries to be. She explains matter of factly. He was born and trained to rule, and he has the makings of a great chief. I just want to make sure the future he laid out for our people will come to pass. Even if his ideas might be controversial, radical. She interrupts me through a chuckle. Dear boy, you're the walking embodiment of those. A living, breathing proof that this wolf will do anything as long as he believes it's the right thing to do. It's about time there was a wolf in charge with a moral compass, and Steel resolved to follow it. A moral compass. Isn't that what Ranok has been talking about? About Romiz's compass? He told me to follow mine so many times, because that's the truth he strives to live by. He's really an amazing wolf. The fact that both Verissa and Vol placed their faith in him proves it beyond doubt. It explains why I feel so safe around him. With Vol at his side and you to advise him, it seems nothing can stand in Ranok's way. I smile. Fate, Romiz. The female nods affirmatively. Everything was arranged before any of us were even born. All we have to do is play our parts. And now that also includes you. She stands up, issuing a melodic laugh. What's so funny? Not in my wildest dreams would I think a human be a key to the future of my people. I'm still trying to piece together all the parts. But so far you fit into this puzzle. She rests her paws on her hips, looking around with slight amusement. Ancestors sure do like to laugh in the face of the living. But when you're dead, the only thing you have left is a sense of humor. The female pushes the chair back into the place and approaches the door. I better head out. Otherwise, Ranok's father is going to have another fit. Okay. I nod, standing up and approach her. And approaching her. I standing up and approaching her. I pull on the handle, open the doors for her. My, you do play your part well. You might survive us yet. She ruffles my hair, and as I blink in confusion, not really sure what she meant. Come on, Romiz. If you play your part well of being the submissive type for a while, you might survive this. I'm just being polite. You keep tight. Ranok shall be coming back soon. Almost right about now. As the female leaves, I close the doors behind her. The house got incredibly dark and quiet with her departure, but I won't let that bother me. Despite the creeping fear inside my heart, I simply shake it off and sit down, looking at the window. The ominous presence deep inside my mind stirs, growing bolder with each passing moment. I try to distract myself. I must distract myself. I cannot let it win. Verissa gave me a lot to think about, so I focus on our conversation instead. She certainly managed to clear some of my doubts about Ranok. I can now clearly see that he's simply letting off steam whenever he can. It's the only way to avoid breaking under such immense pressure. I don't think I would be able to cope up with so many expectations placed on my shoulders. It's incredibly impressive how well he manages, all things considered. And then there's Vol, whom I really need to be careful around. It would seem I've mistaken his leeway for friendliness. I can see he's genuinely amused by me, but it's definitely in the context of me being Ranok's path. He's just entertaining his friend's whim. But I can work with that. After all, the foot is in the door. And knowing now how harsh Vol's upbringing was, growing up believing you were born bad, that must have been rough. A self-fulfilling prophecy. Him keeping distance is now so much more understandable. Yes, he is quick to anger. He is violent. But if a wolf like Ranok cherishes him so much, then Vol cannot be evil. No, I don't see him that way. Blackstone be damned. If he means so much to Ranok, then he means as much to me. You mean nothing. Suddenly, the strangest of feelings overwhelmed me, as if I were contracting onto myself, while the walls got bigger and taller. The shadow seemed to elongate, reaching out from within the dark corners, and I immediately shift my gaze onto the table, locking my eyes with the woodwork patterns. It's not real. It's just in my head. I breathe heavily. Breathe! That breath! I breathe heavily, not even realizing when I start to shiver. Holy crap! A torturous moan stretches across the back wall, as if the sudden expansion put a strain on the house. It feels like the room twists and contorts, with the walls closing in on me. Get a grip, Romiz! I grab my head, pleading with myself. I know this is just my panic attack, nothing more, but the sound continues, almost as if trying to prove me wrong. Stumbling to my feet, I nervously look around the room. I feel so small and insignificant, as though I shrunk and lost at least half of my height. I was undersized for this place before, but now it looks as if I can't even reach a table anymore. What is going on? My feet move back as I retreat from the kitchen, but when I feel the room, retreat from the kitchen, but then I feel the room begin to spin. I simply run into But when I feel the room begin to spin, I simply run into the bedroom and slam the door shut. This! I slumped down, resting my crying face into my knees. Fuck this shit! This isn't normal! My tears flow like waterfalls. I'm bawling my eyes out and I realize that if I allow my wailing to continue, I will draw unnecessary attention to myself. I try to stabilize my breath, hearing it rattle loudly across the room. I remind myself what Ranok used to do, and I embrace my shoulders, slowly squeezing them in the rhythm of my palpitating heart. Breathe in. Breathe out. I recall his caring voice. And breathe out. With much struggle, I managed to regain some form of self-control. As my breath slows down, I take in the scent of the woods outside, almost feeling as if the wolf was here with me. You're all alone. I look around the empty room, feeling utterly helpless. I am completely at the mercy of my empty mind. I don't even know what the hell is wrong with me, or why my emotions spiral out of control so violently. One thing is certain. I am alone in this world. With each passing day, it becomes clearer that I have lost everyone. My family, my friends. Surely I had those. My life, such as it was, is now gone. Replaced by whatever the this is. My sanity cannot rely on Ranok forever. But for the time being, that wolf is the key to keep whatever the hell is going on with me in check. I don't have a choice but to lean in. I try to swallow, but the lump sticks for halfway down my throat. I notice the jug of water on the cupboard and I get up. I pour myself a cup and drink thirstily. I'm parched and a realization finally dawns on me. It must have been the booze. This weird episode was just me tripping on without whatever the hell it was we drank. I slap my head in my annoyance. I'm such an idiot. I should not be drinking in my current state of mind. It's literally asking for trouble. I finally compose myself and take a deep breath. I'm glad to find a reason behind all this madness. When I look around the dark room, a slight unease fills me once again. It's getting late, so it shouldn't be long before Ranok returns. Or so I hope. A chill creeps down my back, sending a shiver across my entire body. It's gotten cold again. I look at the chest, remembering there was some old clothes in there. As it creaks open, I look at the contents. There's the swords, some of his old loincloths, not less one of which I was gagged with, and a spare cloak! I pull it out and flap around to straighten the fabric. It's clean for the most part, I take an idle sniff. Phew! Phew! Ew! It's musky. Very musky. I drop it to the floor. That's like a whole week of extensive workouts. But then again, I reluctantly trailed the empty room. It looks so foreboding and unwelcoming. Being stuck on my own in this dark, old house only makes it easier to surrender myself to despair and longing. Despite the sweaty smell, the cloak does remind me of him, almost as if a piece of him was still here. And it is cold. I sigh and pick up the cloth, wrapping it around my shoulders. It's so snug. It feels as if he himself braces me. Maybe a bit exhausted after a spar, a bit stinky, but still very much smelling like the forest. I decide to seat myself on the ledge, to look at the woods outside. It's a very calm night with a bright moon high above the treetops. The slow rustle of the canopy is much more soothing and calming than the dark interior of the house. But there is no escaping the darkness stalking my mind. I feel as if I'm being watched. Again, my heart sinks, and I burrow myself into a cloak, inhaling deeply. His scent calms me down slightly, but my heart is already racing. The ease with which I freak out is alarming, but then again, I really don't have a clue what happened in those woods. I huddled myself, waiting for the oblivion to come me, but there is no such luck. I have to endure my tortured thoughts for what feels like an eternity, until I hear the door of the house finally creak open. Ranok returned. I tried to... What? No sound effect? I tried to collect myself, to rub away any stray tears, but there is no hiding my distress. I feel like such a wimp! Ranok opens the door to the bedroom, and I can see he's clearly upset. Oh, I'm sorry it took so long. Father put me through hell on account of... Well... It's fine. I cut him off with a weak smile. No need for him to make excuses. I'm just glad he's finally here. Is it? Is it though? Because it seems like you were crying. It's just my mind wandering off. I don't like being alone with my thoughts. It takes me dark places. Speaking of... The wolf walks towards the cupboard and opens the top drawer. He removes from it a bundle of tinder along with what I assume is a flint and some sort of steel loop. He puts the loop to his knuckles and strikes the flint with it, allowing sparks to fall down into the tinder. Within moments, he lights up the candles in the room. He's suddenly bathed in the warm hues. Much better. I can't help but be amazed at these old-timey gadgets. Old-timey gadgets? What? I wouldn't last a day without his aid or guidance. Wish I was this resourceful. I'm extremely tired. Had a rather rough sparring session. That's wrong spelling of sparring. That's sparring. Sparring. It's supposed to be double R. Sparring session today. He mutters, rubbing his shoulder with pain clearly visible in his muzzle. But I wouldn't mind staying up a bit. We could grab some ale. Oh, wait, grab some ale! I propose, remembering how Vol commented on the quality of Ranok's beverage. He must enjoy it to have a barrel full of it. Yeah, we could. The wolf smiles. And I could get that for you. I nod towards his shoulder, but he didn't seem to understand my intention. Oh? I can try and massage it while you relax. The fuck are you talking about? Dude, what are you talking about? That does sound nice. He smiles again, but quickly his expression fills with embarrassment. I don't want to take advantage, though. How could you, if I'm the one offering? I smirk, jumping off the ledge and rushing towards the kitchen. I'm not much of an ale drinker, but I still humor the wolf. He seems to have a rough day. As I fill our mugs with dark brew, Ranok builds the fire. He huffs repeatedly at the tinder placed beneath the logs, slowly encouraging the flame to climb higher. I bring the filled tankards to the table, observing him intently. It will be useful to learn his method, the sooner the better. Could you teach me how to do this? I ask, once the flame dances merrily inside the hearth. Sure. Sure. There's not much to it. He nods, joining me at the table. This is the fire striker. The wolf places a metal loop in front of me. You make sparks by striking it at the edge of the flint. He then plops down a small glossy-looking stone. If you do that repeatedly on top of tinder or kindling, eventually you get fire. I always have some laying around, top drawer in the bedroom. He points behind me at the cupboard in the other room. And here, underneath the hearth. The wolf looks down, drawing my gaze to a heap of twigs and hay hidden in the niche beneath the stove. Thanks, I'll give it a try tomorrow. You better. I don't want you to wait in the dark until I come home. That's not good for you. Yeah. I laugh awkwardly, not really keen on discussing my little freak out. Since he's finally here, I'd rather focus on making the most of it. As he plops comfortably down, grabbing his mug, I stand up and walk behind him. He follows me with his gaze as I begin to softly knead his shoulder. Offered you a massage, didn't I? Yeah. Sorry. I'm being lazy in my voice acting. He muses, closing his eyes and enjoying my rubbing. I'm not exactly an expert, but I simply follow cues from his body. I apply as much pressure and force as it takes to draw a grunt from him, letting up and changing spots when I can see he's getting too worked up about it. Up by it. Feels good to be home. Feels good to be home. He croons in pleasure. A soft growl reverberating in this playful word draws a slight blush from my cheeks. Oh my god, you are becoming his kin wife! He mistakes my embarrassment for something else and quickly turns to face me with a regretful expression. Oh, I'm sorry. That was stupid of me. What? I blink in confusion. All you must be thinking about is getting back home. And then I throw a comment like that. I smile at this train of thought. He's being considerate of a fault. It's fine, really. I know what you mean. I will take you back.
I promise.
He insists, his gaze full of determination. I know. I reassure him. I have absolutely no doubts about his intentions, but I'd rather not talk about my forgotten home right now. I simply nod towards my hands, letting him know I want to return to the massage message. He sighs, shaking his head in amusement, and rests back against the chair, allowing me access to his aching muscles. Well, sort of. I still have all this gear in my way. It will be easier if I take this off. I knock on his shoulder pad like, that eager to undress me, huh? The wolf chuckles, causing me to gasp in annoyance, only to remind myself that teasing is just his nature. Oh yeah, I shall play along. We'll see who breaks first. If that's what you like to think. I shrug, approaching him from the front and sinking my fingers beneath the plate to fill up the latch. I can see embarrassment paint across his entire muzzle. He really is all bark but no bite. What's the matter? Human got your tongue. Human will get bitten if he's not careful. He shoots a soft, playful growl as I detach a piece of armor. Huh. Didn't even skip a beat. He mutters with slight surprise. It takes me a moment to realize he's talking about my heart. I can see a proud smile stretch across his muzzle. You start to trust me, he says with satisfaction, and I just can't help myself. That, or perhaps you're not as scary as you think you are. I chuckle, placing the metal pad onto the table. Aren't I? The wolf croons, raising from his seat and squaring up with me. I literally reach only to his breasts, and not for his obviously gleeful tail swings. I even might have been a little intimidated. Nope, you're just a well-kept fluff ball. I'll take that as a compliment. I must have said it wrong. I tease, but he only shrugs, removing his leather straps and placing his massive sword against the wall next to the hearth. Once he sits himself back to the table, I get full reign over his entire back. I smile, rubbing his tense neck muscle, while he draws air through his teeth. Guess that's a sore spot, so I try to be gentle around it. Eventually, he breaks the silence, his voice slightly deeper and strange to my massage. Did you manage to jog your memory a little while I was gone? Remembered anything at all? Nope! I shrug in defeat, causing him to fall silent for a moment. Shame. I was hoping there was a silver lining to your earlier distress. A bad memory, perhaps. No such luck, I'm afraid. My distress seems to be entirely of my own making. Literally, it's all just in my own head. He burrows deep into his thoughts as I continue kneading his shoulders. In truth, it feels almost therapeutic for me. Not to mention I got to feel up all of his muscles. He's almost like a walking anatomy model. You worry about your memory. I get that. But I'm also glad I get to show you a bit of our life. He mutters, taking an idle sip of his ale. Perhaps this way, you'll be able to see the rest of Avalon through my eyes. It's quite something, I tell you that. Being able to experience it anew almost makes me envy your memory loss. He laughs merrily, while I push slightly harder against his shoulder in punishment for making light of my situation. As he grunts softly under my workout, I simply pretend it wasn't unintentional. Have you ever been outside of this forest? I ask, moving my hands down to his shoulder blades. Outside of Turnen? Is that what it's called? He nods, drawing air through his fangs in pain as I find another bruised spot. When I was little, I snuck out of the village. I hid inside a herb sack in one of the caravans headed for Strandbard. I suppress a chuckle, imagining a scene he was a troublemaker since birth. So that's where your scent comes from, I propose cheekily. My scent? He blinks in confusion and for a moment, I wonder whether the comment... Okay, the sound effect is too loud. He blinks in confusion, and for a moment, I wonder whether the comment wasn't too forward on my part. I quickly laugh it off, though. I had to endure his teasiness. Teases! It's about time he tasted his own medicine. You smell like the forest. Oh! I amuse, noticing his tail gave an idle flicker before it began slowly swaying back and forth. He's struggling to contain a smile, clearly enjoying my observation. Where's Strandbard? I decide to spare him the lingering embarrassment of a genuine compliment by bringing our conversation back on track. But it's handy to know that when he pushes my buttons, I can push a few back.
It's a Tiggery? It's a Tiggery town. It's a Tigery town. Just outside of our territory. It's where most of our interactions with the outside world take place. The name is actually derived from an old inn around which the town grew, the Stranded Bard. Ah. I expected the place to be crawling with tigers, but to my surprise it was filled with all sorts of creatures. There were lions there, sylvan folk of all shapes and sizes, even lynxes and wolves. I mused, easing up on the workout and trying to imagine those various beastmen. It all seems so fantastical. I saw cubs playing with pups in the streets, as if they didn't see they were different species. There was no combat training, no preparation for war of any sort, just idle folk going about their idle lives. I almost picture a fairy tale town with happy people only doing happy things and thinking happy thoughts. Only thing missing is the townsfolk, randomly bursting into a choreographed song. I know it's just his perception as a child, and perhaps the town wasn't as idyllic. However, the description does strike a chord with me. Sounds beautiful, really. He pauses, looking rather concerned. It made me wonder why we lead such different lives, why we shield away from the other kin, and jealously protected our woods. We're trained in combat since we're pups, always preparing for a war. Other kin youth play with wooden swords and chase hoops. It was very confusing. I glance at his chiseled but battered body and can see that the wolf really didn't have an idle day in his life. Instead, his days were filled with endless chains of spars and exercises meant to hone this physique. He might have a rocking bod, but it came at the cost of his childhood. It's almost sad, really. Kinda reminds me of Batman. When my father found out, he was furious. We don't let pups outside our territory. We don't want them to get the wrong ideas. I blink. Wrong ideas? Like diversity and fun aren't bad? You can scoff all you like, but yes. It makes you question everything your people stand for. I've been questioning everything since I woke up. I can't hold in a laugh. I find questioning things to be yet another good policy. Not when you're too young to understand what it is that you're questioning. Sheltering your kids like that doesn't seem right. Almost like you're indoctrinating them. Ranok looks back at me, and I finally splay my hands up in a... what? Gesture. You don't understand. From what you're saying, you don't understand it either. I protest through a snicker. I know why we don't let the young ones out. For the tribe to be strong, their resolve needs to be strong. The other kin don't need to worry about wars. There's millions of them. They have plenty of soldiers even if most of their people never seen a weapon in their entire life. There's maybe 100,000 of my kin left within these woods. We need to keep our wits about us to hold on to what we've got left. I frown, slowly losing my hope that Ranok is that much different from the rest of his people. From what I've heard so far, they seem to be a highly militarized, almost totalitarian society. So you agree with this? Pups fighting with swords rather than playing with toys? Is that real? Sorry, pups fighting with swords rather than playing with toys? Is that really what you want? I don't want our people to be weak, but I also don't want them to continue this course. Avalon changed, and we should change with it.
I want to see what the Tigers did with their supremacy over the continent. If indeed the Alliance of Tiger is a fellowship of equals, it's painting itself to be. Or just another lie, like the rebellion where we traded one overlord for another. Immediately, I remember the book I browsed through. I almost want to engage with the topic, but eventually, I just sigh looking at my hands, still needing his strange shoulders. This is all really weird, like a fairy tale. Talking beasts, castles, and queens. A little girl comes to my mind. She's lost in a strange world, and her only way home is to simply follow the lead, no matter the madness. Alice in Wonderland! Through the looking glass. Gani! Alice in Wonderland through the looking glass. I chuckle, knowing I even had my own off with his head encounter just the day before. Huh? Nothing. I think one Romiz, or the main character, is a bookworm, apparently. I think. I shake my head, looking back at him. I might not know much about wolves and tigers, but the more you say, the more convinced I am that this little adventure you had as a pup did more good than harm. It made you curious. That longing to explore and to understand, it made you more accepting of others, and I admire it. He stretches out with a satisfied grin. Thanks. I'm also glad we'll get to share this little adventure together. Learning from one another. Damn right! Ranok cheers, raising his mug and spilling a little bit of his brew. I roll my eyes in slight annoyance. I just clean the floors! In all fairness, I was quite nervous about you. I knew you were my path the moment I found you, but I worried. What about? You know, he mutters with a troubled expression. Would we... He interlocks his fingers in a jigsaw gesture, and I laugh. Like this? Like that? And did we? I smirk, causing his eyes to narrow. Okay. I think you're confusing overconfidence for an attractive trait. As the cattle said to the pot, "You're black!" I quote him right back, pushing playfully on one of his muscles, and the wolf widens his eyes in shock. Our joint laughter fills the room, and I return to soothing his aching back. I must admit, it feels nice to be able to talk with someone so openly. No matter the subject, what our respective position is on the matter, we always manage to return to a common ground. It's an amazing quality. This wolf, there is something about him that I simply adore. Damn, this feels good. I bet. A sly smile paints across my face as I bask in his praise. That is, until I see a bulge in his crotch growing larger with each workout I give to his muscles. He's enjoying it far too much. I pull my hands away, returning hastily to the table, pretending I haven't noticed. Last thing I want is him getting all self-conscious and giving me another speech about being defective. I grab my mug and nervously bring it to my mouth, trying to swallow a long gulp. I think you had too much ale for today, Romiz. Thanks. I needed that. He mutters, still savoring the afterglow of my massage. You're welcome, I respond, looking away to hide my blush. I want to continue this conversation, but I see he's completely out of it. He just leans his back and rests his eyes. I slurp the ale through the awkward silence, checking up on him every now and then. Every time he's around, a complete sense of calm descends upon me, to the point where I simply enjoy his presence. I look at the trees outside, gently rustling on the wind. I wonder what time it is. Curious about the Tiger Rebellion he mentioned, I consider picking up the blue book again, when I notice Ranok's head slump slightly to the side. I think he drifted off to sleep. I look at his crotch and confirm he has been completely pacified. Damn, he must have been really exhausted. That or my rub-down relaxed him to the point of utter bliss. I chuckle it off. Who am I kidding? My poor attempt at a massage most likely will cause him soreness in the morning. I also banish any thoughts of late night reading. Sitting here in the dimly lit kitchen with the snug warmth of the fire, I became quite groggy myself. I allow us a few more moments struggling with my drink until I gave up. The bitter brew is not my kind of thing. I think you drank too much ale today. I poke Ranok, stirring him up from his nap. Mentally, it's already in tomorrow, so I have to help him up. Considering his size, it's not an easy task. He really weighs a lot. Once he stands up, he slams slightly into my shoulder and I almost stumble. Okay there, buddy. Let's go. I led us slowly into the bedroom. When inside of the bed, Ranok plops into it with a heavy thud. I love you so... What? I love you so much. He mutters quietly, clearly addressing the mattress. Oh, it's the mattress. I love you so much, mattress. Are you sure it's the mattress he's talking about? Or is he talking about you, Romiz? I find it rather cute. Within just a moment, I can hear him snoring softly. I blow out the candles, laying myself down next to him. I dart my eyes between his peaceful muzzle at the soft flickers of the slowly dying fire within the hearth. I haven't felt this calm the entire day. The soft orange hues flooding from the kitchen just make this whole scene so idyllic. Only one thing would make it better. And as if he read my mind, Ranok's massive paw swoops behind me and pulls me closer to his chest. Considering what he said, I should try and free myself from his embrace, but I'm nowhere near that strong-willed. What? I thought I was okay if you said strong, but you said strong-willed, so we were like, no, I can't. My gayness is taking me over. Instead, I succumb to my dire need for proximity. I sigh, smiling in a mix of guilt and happiness, completely enveloped by his smell. I try not to fall asleep just yet, simply enjoying his intimacy. I could stay like this forever, just watching him sleep, his peaceful muzzle softly smiling even through slumber. But it does take long for his rhythmic breathing to lull me to rest, and I effortlessly drift away into a tranquil dream. Ah. I spent several hours buried snugly in the memory of his warm embrace, which carries me through the night. Eventually, I'm stirred awake by a gentle shake on my shoulder. Wait, it's still nighttime? What the hell? It's a struggle to open my eyes, but as I blink in the dim light of the room, I can see Ranok standing above me in full gear. Confused by the darkness, I look towards the window. It's still night. I have to leave before dawn. Why? I mutter groggily, still firmly gripped by my calm dream. I've taken morning patrol duties. Sorry. If all goes well, I might return earlier than yesterday. I rub my eyes, getting out of the bed. Immediately, my teeth begin to chatter as the chill of the early morning felt like. It's cold. It's wonder I didn't realize I didn't freeze to death in my sleep. Well, you have a comforter. He's your comforter. He looks at me with a cheeky grin. Oh no. What have I done? What have I done now? We kinda spent most of the night spooning together. Not that I blame you. Furless little creep. Furless little creep, says the fur creep. He winks at me, ruffling my messy hair. For someone who claims to be straight as an arrow, he doesn't seem to mind getting intimate. To a boy. I'm sorry. Don't be. He waves his paw at me. As I said, I get it. It is a cold night. I seriously need to get some clothes. I'll talk to Verissa. Maybe she has a spare dress you could borrow. Hey, wait a minute! I give him a death stare. What? Not even remotely funny. He laughs me off, clearly amused by the idea. Who said it was a joke? I rub my arms energetically, trying to warm up as the wolf takes curious glances around the room. I think he... What the hell? What are you looking at? What is that? I think he's only now noticing my exploits from the previous day. Is it just me, or did you clean the entire house? You'd notice now? Oh, yeah. About that. I mumbled awkwardly.
You don't have to do anything around here. You know this, right?
He asks, almost as if my efforts weighs heavily on his consciousness. Well, Vol might be calling me a piglet, but that doesn't mean I have to live in a pigsty. I blurt out cheekily, catching him off guard. He quickly laughs it off, giving me a teasing smirk.
Well, forgive me, my lord. Is my humble abode not to your liking?
Oh, stop it, you! I shake my head as he bids me to follow with a gesture of his paw.
Come.
Now? The wolf disappears into the other room, and I go after him, hoping that the kitchen hearth is already burning. It still is! I'm relieved to see that it is, and I place myself next to it, my skin seeping in all the warmth it can get. What the hell are you making? Is that the very famous pastry that I've seen on Twitter? I look at the wolf with confusion as he grabs a bowl from the table and stirs something inside of it.
Verissa gave me an idea for a nice treat.
Oh? I approach him as he invites me to inspect the contents. I gaze curiously inside the bowl and immediately recognize a familiar batter. Pancakes? I ask with glee. Mm-hmm. He smiles toothily as his tail gives an energetic flick.
Glad to see she was correct.
You've got morning duties, and you woke up early to get the breakfast ready? He's so busy, yet still finds time to do something special just for us. It shows.
Well, it's only fair after that lovely rub-down you gave me.
The wolf rotates his right shoulder with clear relief.
I feel like a newborn pup.
I almost blush at the comment. Really glad I was able to ease him up. Still, I think he's only saying that to make me feel good. My massage was sloppy at best.
And I need to compensate you for the complete makeover of my house.
Wink. Again, he looks around, awkwardly, clearly embarrassed that I cleaned. I watch as he rubs his hind paw across the wooden panels, causing them to squeak.
The floor wasn't this shiny since I've laid it down with Vol.
I just chuckled, shaking my head with amusement as I walked towards the cupboards to wash up. It was nothing, really. Gave me something to do.
Oh, well then, perhaps next time you could rethatch my roof.
Hey, wait a minute! He proposes through a snark and I simply shrug. Sure, if you show me how it's done.
I was only joking.
And I was being serious. He sounds almost offended.
I honestly don't want you to do menial tasks around the house. Despite our circumstances, you are my guest.
But how else am I supposed to earn a treat from you? I wink, really amused by how uncomfortable my housework made him.
I will feed you well, regardless of service rendered. Don't you worry about that.
He huffs and I finally face the water bowl. Question, where did you get the sugar? Romiz, I thought you said you can't bring food home.
Father gave me permission on account of you being here.
I reluctantly touch the water and blink. It's warm. What the hell? I throw my head back to look at the wolf who smiles at me with satisfaction.
I warmed it up for you. Don't want you cussing again.
How did you warm that up? How? He laughs and I quickly divert my gaze, getting slightly choked up. The wolf is being extremely considerate. Even when it's possible, he tries to accommodate me in every possible way. Speaking of paws, I've noticed him using both, not a clear dominant one. Are you ambidextrous?
My, isn't that a mouthful?
I wash my hands and throw him a confused gaze. I mean, you're using both paws equally.
Yeah. Why?
Oh, nothing. Just quite impressive. I cup some water with my palm, slushing it across my arms.
We're all trained from pups to use both paws equally. It's quite important for combat. Weren't you?
He asks as I wash my face. Why would I be? Do I look like a soldier?
You certainly don't sound like one.
Ranok only chuckles while I shake my head and dry my skin with a towel.
Right, I've got some blueberries and bacon.
Ooh! Let's make bacon pancakes! Making bacon pancakes! Chop an egg and put it in the pancake! He points to the table where I find 2 plates with already prepared ingredients.
I don't mind sweet foods, but I do need some meat with my meals.
Well, you are a wolf. I chuckle.
So, what's it going to be? You want blueberries with yours or bacon?
Can I have both?
Oh, how about both?
Yes! I immediately think about the breakfast from yesterday. That combination worked fine for me. If he has early duty, I don't want to waste much time fiddling with variations. Both sounds interesting, plus the sassle.
My type of guy. Wink.
I watch the wolf dump the berries and cube bacon into the bowl and mix them energetically into the batter.
Right, you'll do the honors.
He passes me the bowl and walks off to fetch the iron pan. Once he secures it into the fire, he points it at the table.
Grab a stick of butter. We need to grease it up.
Where did you get the butter? Sure. Wait, where did you get the butter? I nod, placing down the bowl and grabbing a large fork on the mantel. I impale the butter with it and approach the hearth. Ranok looks at me with joy. As I press the stick into the pan, melting its bottom side and gliding it across the surface. I cannot help but notice his tail swings each time I do something to his satisfaction. It's almost as if he's saying "attaboy," which is kinda ironic considering only one of us is a canine. Once the pan is glistening, I return the butter back to the table and grab the bowl. Large ones or small?
Up to you, my lord.
Oh, give it a rest already. I scoff merrily at his teeth and I simply plop a large dollop of batter into the center. Oh my god, that looks so good. I never claimed to be a noble. You're the one who keeps spoiling me.
Yeah, well, I might have an ulterior motive.
What? Oh?
Best way to jog some memories is to engage the senses.
I chuckle, nodding in agreement. He isn't wrong. This does stir something deep inside my subconsciousness. I must have done this with something back before, well, anything of this. Ah! This. Oh, okay, wait a minute. How is the top part burning up when they haven't even flipped it yet? That's illogical. No, that's not how pancake works. Pancake is burned from the bottom, not on top. What? What the hell? The homely feeling that fills my heart as I watch the pancake brown confirms it. Well, oh, there we go. Okay. Whoop. Wait, oh, sorry. Sorry. You need to see the pancake. It's right here. Pancake! I can't get it. It's right there. It's right there. I almost got it. It's right there. I can't get it. No. I'm hungry. And all I have here are chips. Ranok laughs as he flips the pancake in the air. I join his merriment, completely thrown off by how accustomed I've become to his antics. I simply shake my head and move the ready pancake onto the plate and pour another spoonful of batter into the pan. I watch in silence as it browns. Seeing Ranok gives me a cheeky side eye from time to time. His tail leaves no doubt that the wolf is really happy. Am I reading too much into this? Yes, you are. Is it normal for a guy to be so lovable? No, it isn't. Wait, yes it is. Yes, it is normal for a guy to be so lovable. I'm so helplessly confused. No, it's just your gayness talking. In total, we fry 6 pancakes. That's 6 big pancakes. All the while the wolf shows off, flipping them flamboyantly into the air. I cannot help but laugh each time it tries to win my attention and approval. Once the food is ready, we sit down to the table. You can eat them on their own, or... He points to 2 small clay pots. Sprinkle them with either one of those. Oh! Or both. Oh, Ranok. He flashes his brows at me in other tease. I give a quick glance at the contents of each jar, both looking golden and clear. Honey? Like real honey?
I guess, to which the wolf nods.
And this?
Birch syrup.
Ah! Bird shit, it's tree sap! I tilt my head in confusion, quickly realizing it's probably similar to maple one. Noticing my hesitance, the wolf removes a wooden dipper from the jar and brings it over to me. He holds his paw beneath, making sure the syrup doesn't splash all over the table. A red blush paints over my face quicker than I can realize. He's playing me like a fiddle! Try it. He encourages me with a kind smile. I part my trembling lips, shyly sticking my tongue out to touch a golden strand dribbling from the dipper. A mix of floral and caramel-like sweetness hits me, and I close my eyes to truly enjoy it. I wasn't wrong. It is quite like maple syrup, although much stronger in flavor. Bit more complex. You like it? I nod, covering my face as I lick the excess from my lips. Why are you being so seductive all the damn time? They combine quite well. The wolf smiles as he pours the syrup over his pancakes. True to his words, he then proceeds to glaze them over with golden strands of honey, and I'm tempted to do the same when a thought occurs to me. But honey is healthy. How are we going to eat this without getting all gooey and sticky? I had some cutlery borrowed from the villa, so that my liege won't have to use his fingers. He revealed to me 2 silver forks. Oh, social! Repeatedly raising his brows in jest. You're unbelievable! Unbelievably thoughtful, you mean? Actually, yeah, but I'm not going to admit it. Damn it! I will show him that the two of us can play this game. What do patrol duties involve? I asked absentmindedly, drizzling my pancakes in the same fashion, strands of both the syrup and honey zigzagging across the surface. We checked the forest for any signs of intrusion. You mean any more of me? He laughed at the remark. There can be only one of you. He winks at me coyly, and I widen my eyes in embarrassment. I kinda reached my quota. Any more humans and even spirits won't be able to save us. Any more humans and even spirits won't be able to save us from the chopping block. Smooth save. I flash my eyebrows to let him know I'm aware of what he's doing, and I simply dig into my meal trying to conceal my blush. I cut off a piece of my pancake with a fork and then bring it up to my mouth. As I take a bite, I immediately close my eyes with satisfaction. Damn, this hits the spot and sends me down my vacant memory lane. Even though I cannot summon my... Okay, needs music. Even though I cannot summon any images, I know I've had pancakes before. The delicious mixture of meat and berries, the syrup and honey, it's beyond description. I almost melt in the chair at the gooey delight bursting in my mouth with flavor. I'm brought back to the world of the living by the sound of his tail thumping against the chair. He looks at me with absolute joy, clearly happy that his treat did the trick. Sorry. Thank you. Thank you. You're welcome. The wolf nods, digging into his food. What else do you do on patrols? We keep an eye on the general health in the forest. We track the game, look for any signs of disease both in wildlife and the trees. He explains, shoveling a whole pancake into his muzzle. And we've removed where dry wood to avoid fire. I wince as the wolf struggles to speak with his mouth full. His casual manners are almost endearing, and I chuckle as he finally swallows the food down with a loud sigh. That sort of stuff. I watch carefully. Wait, what the hell? I'm Ranok, everybody! I watch carefully as he gets up and walks towards the barrel to fill up his mug with ale. We also do war games with other packs, exercise and spar. I try to keep my packs well trained and ready for anything. He takes a sip as he sits back down. Your pack? Sorry. Your pack? 6 packs? Abs? Yeah, our tribe is divided into 6-pack abs. 6 packs. They're an elite group of 6 highly skilled wolves. Warriors, hunters, and rangers. No magicians.
7th being the alpha, the leader.
Who's your alpha then? He narrows his eyes through a bemused smile.
I'd say my pack, didn't I?
The wolf reveals with a twinge of pride in his voice. You're the alpha! I almost exclaimed, choking slightly on my food.
And that surprises you?
No, just wow. Ranok receives my praise with satisfaction. I mean, he's already impressive as is, but I still smile. He's quite prominent within his tribe, no doubt about that. It must be so much pressure on someone so young. I guess this is why he's so confusing when it comes to feelings. He doesn't want anyone to have any reason to undermine his position. Everything in his life conspires to box him up tightly and then keeps him like that forever. Is Vol in your pack? He snorts, looking at me with a mocking expression.
Does Vol look like someone who takes orders?
Fair point.
He's also an alpha.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Our respective packs are actually competing for dominance.
Doesn't that strain your relationship?
Enhances it really. We keep each other on our toes and in peak condition. Thanks to that, my father has 2 best packs in the entirety of Turnen. We're well respected by the other tribes.
I blush, really amazed that I landed in the lap of those 2 impressive wolves. Like, ooh, 2 alphas, and I'm the 1 omega. It's just quite the company I found myself in. Not only they saved my life, but I also risked everything in doing so. Their freedom, their positions, even their lives. At times like this, I do wish I was a lost human noble. At the very least, I would have been worth all that trouble. We continue with our breakfast. Ranok going quite fast about it, almost devouring the food with loud, satisfying chomps. I don't know why, but something about these jagged fangs is almost enticing. I try not to be too obvious, so I sneak secret gazes to admire his muscle at work. Ugh, what is wrong with me? You're gay!
Right, gotta run,
he says, emptying his mug in one go. He bangs it on the table and rushes off, ruffling my hair as he passes by.
I'll try to be back by late afternoon. I already asked father if I could dine with you today. We'll have our own little feast tonight.
He's practically beaming at the revelation, and in all fairness, it lifts my spirits. Good luck on your patrol! They sounded like a married couple. Oh my god! I smile as he opens the door.
I make my own luck. Wink.
He winks again and leaves the house. What? No goodbye kiss? Aww. Cocky bastard. I look down at this spilled full plate. I've barely gone through one of the pancakes. The meal is delicious, but also very filling. Not to mention, it's extremely early. Looking at the window, it's hard to gauge what time it is, but I bet it's somewhere in the range of 4 a.m. I gaze back to my pancakes, feeling rather reluctant to leave them unfinished. Not only Ranok poured a lot of effort into them, but also the syrup will change them into inedible mush within the next hour or so. I continue with my breakfast half-heartedly, feeling increasingly full. In all fairness, I've been eating very little since I woke up. Although, I do sense hunger now and then. I find myself easily sated. Not to mention, my straying thoughts often lose my appetite. And just like that, I'm reminded that I'm alone. At least, I'm not left in the darkness. After yesterday, this kitchen seems less friendly than usual. I tap my hands on the table, trying to figure out how to occupy myself. If my wandering thoughts are the cause of my freakouts, then I cannot stay idle for long. I don't suppose I could clean the house all over again. Sweetie, you just woke up. Come on. That will be lunacy. I sigh, reluctantly approaching the cupboard and picking up the blue tome. The Great Tiger Rebellion, huh? What a title. How funny it will be to have pop quizzes based on this nonsense, hmm? Maybe there's something we should know about the Great Tiger Rebellion. They did those at a school. I can almost recall a classroom filled with chatter and laughter. The image is blurry, the face is blank and distorted, disappearing almost instantly into the ever-present nothingness in my mind. Huh, I was educated. I used to study a lot. I can't remember what or why, but I used to stay up late with a book up like this, wake up early to catch up on my studies before an exam. Curious, very curious. I gaze around the room, realizing how familiar this setting really is. He was right. The best way to jog one's memory is to engage the senses. This little realization fills me with hope. Or better yet, determination. If an early read can summon even a glimpse of my past life, then perhaps with time I'll manage to regain more of what was lost. The more activity we get to do. Ranok is quite smart for someone who was supposedly born with a sword in his paw. I wonder, do wolves even have a school? Should I mention to Ranok that I used to study, or will he mock me once again for being born in high places? I can almost hear his la-di-da, young lordling read books instead of learning how to fight, no, or something along the lines. I just chuckle, shaking off this little sidetracking thought. I guess it doesn't really matter. I reclined comfortably, set on giving the book another go. Apparently, the first major battle of the rebellion took place right here in Turnen. The Tigeri and Sylvan folk decimated the entire Leonin army within these woods. It was the first defeat dealt to the lions, which proved to the other kin of Avalon that their overlords are not invincible. From that point onward, the rebellion grew in scope, with more creatures banding together to overthrow the tyrants. The rest of the books is filled with dates and names, a very crowded parade of characters spanning nearly a country of conflict. I tried to pay as much attention to detail as possible, but considering I really have no context for any of this, most of the information goes in the eye and out the other. I flick the pages idly, and munching on the remaining pancakes from time to time. Okay, and I will end this here. Ah, my God. That was a lot. So, I hope you all enjoyed that because, man, that's almost like 5 hours of recording. From 9 to 3. Oh my God. Imagine that. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all enjoy this wonderful playthrough because we're going to continue on in the future. Because right now I need to rest up my voice and I hope to see you all again soon. If you want to watch the uncensored version of this playthrough, if there's going to be a scene in the future, then I suggest you all to support me in Patreon because little blessings really counts on helping this channel grow and also keeping this channel alive, especially when YouTube strikes me down with a lot of strikes for yaoi content. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for watching. I hope to see you all again soon. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you everybody for watching. My name's Yuki Cookie, signing off saying, have a great day. Mwah! Wow, those pancakes looks good. Maybe I should try make one.